Yeah, buddy. Welcome to another episode of the Blackout Tips Podcast. I'm your host, Rod. Joined as always by my co-host,
Karen.
And we're live on a Saturday morning, ready to do some feedback. That's when we talk about what you guys had to say throughout the week. You left comments on our website. You voted in the polls. You left comments on our YouTube. You left voicemails. You mailed us stuff physically. You emailed us. All of that stuff is going to be addressed today. For those that are trying to get the posters, I've mailed off like my last of my poster mailers yesterday. I think there's one more person that wants a poster. I think that might be it. I'm sorry. I'll let you know if we get some more back in stock or whatever, but everybody that sent it in, I've sent them out, so you should be getting them in the mail. You guys should be receiving them soon. I did send them to like lowest cost, so some of them it might be 4 or 5 days, but not very long. So hopefully you guys got those. And you know, if enough people request them or enough people want to buy some, then I'll buy some more poster holders and mail them out to a waiting list of people.
Right.
The official weapon of the show is the folding chair. The unofficial sport
is bullet ball.
and bullet ball extreme.
I'm sorry.
No, there's nothing to be sorry about. Sometimes I just like to say it too. Is that okay?
That is fine. We can do it in unison.
They all saying it at home.
And it helps me remember.
Yeah. Just trying to be helpful. Of course, you know, you can go to theblackguywhotips.com, look on the right-hand side, and you can actually support the show monetarily through PayPal donations. One time, recurring, we don't care. Any amount, we don't care. We give you a shout out just for doing it. And that's it. That's all you get is the shout out. But people do it and they get the shout out. Why? Because they just love us. They love that the show exists. They don't want nothing extra. They're not looking for a premium membership. They're not looking for poster. They just want to be like, hey, keep existing, here's some money so y'all can eat, and we give them a shout out for that.
May I have your attention? You are now listening to Charlotte's own Rod and Karen. We welcome the good folks who tithe to the Black Guy Who Tips.
New doubloons, new how you doings. Laura E, recurring donator. Noel W, thank you very much. Nicholas Z, Bomani Jones, that's right, Bomani Jones. Pete B, we got Doug R, thank you Doug. Johanna M, Laura F, we got this one from Chris from Hawaii, thank you Chris. April G, thank you April. Corey the Tickler, appreciate you Corey. Tabitha M, we also got Alexis H, and lastly Paige put some money on making sure that her that their poster got to them, and I'm like, okay, like you put more than enough money, but they sent another $10. I'm only saying the amount because I forgot not to say it anyway, just to be like, in case my mailing cost was high, but it wasn't, and it's, if not, use it for a donation to the best podcast in the world. So thank you.
Thank
we
you,
will,
baby.
and we appreciate y'all. Appreciate everybody that put in on this. All right. 5-star reviews. We got one. It's from 4 days ago from Molix Jr., who says, I am a fan, 5-star. And didn't capitalize FAN like freak ass nigga. So I'm assuming not like great.
Thank you.
Just a regular fan, a fanatic
of
our podcast. Rod, your point of view helps me see the other side of some social and political issues. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad to hear that, honestly, because I don't think I'm being contrarian. I'm definitely not what I would consider like conservative or trolling. But I think I strive to try to be fair, and if I can't be fair, I try to be honest. Like,
yeah,
I try to. That's what I strive for on the show. So anytime
we have biases like everybody else, and sometimes I be like, y'all, it's just me.
Yeah, but whenever somebody writes in to say like, hey, you made me see something a little different, even if that doesn't change an opinion or change a mind, sometimes it's just being exposed to a different point of view from a legitimate angle, not somebody that's just trying to like devil's advocate you, but somebody that's like, hey, this is a way to see this. I think, I hope it does help people. I really do, because I learned a lot that way too, listening to other people's voices and being like, oh, I had never considered that, or this is at least this viewpoint in its most purest, most good faith version. And you need to hear that shit, man. We need that a lot right now.
Yeah, and it don't mean you gotta agree, and it don't mean that you even have to understand, because what I've realized a lot of times for everybody, whenever you're doing something, you're explaining something, you're normally giving it from your kind of personal experiences and the things that you've been through. And when people haven't been through those things, whatever the thing is, or they haven't experienced that in life yet, depending on age or whatever, some people kind of just dismiss shit because they go, well, I haven't been through that, or it don't apply to me, because everybody has different types of personalities. And so, sometimes it takes time. It takes you going through it yourself. It takes you watching somebody else go through it through real life, for you be like, oh, they knew what the fuck they was talking about, but that's just life.
Yeah, sometimes I really do seek to understand and be understood, and I think a lot of people, if we started with that, I think we'd be better off than seeking to dominate, seeking to win, seeking to dismiss, seeking to attack, all of those different things that people seem to start with that inclination these days, and I don't think it's very fruitful, because most of us who have ever felt that impulse coming from somewhere else, many of us reject being controlled or dominated or attacked. So I don't know that it's the most fruitful use of our communication skills. And in this space, normally we're able to at least, be honest and express that amongst friends. But, anyway, I'm just always glad when somebody says that. I love Karen's point of view, especially her, oh no. Y'all are a blessing, and I would one day like to attend a live show and see, as well as be a part of the community you have created. Yeah, I'm glad we did the live show, because that's a sentiment that we're getting a lot from people, is that like, oh, this was so lit, I wish I was a part of it. Obviously it's too soon to do one again, just because it's a lot of work. But we will hopefully be able to do at least one a year for foreseeable future, just because I need that too, to see y'all live and experience that, and for it to be a fun event. And it's a little bit of stress, but it really does bring out the best in everybody, and it reminds me that it reminds me that this is a community, even if it's not a community in the traditional sense of like, I run the community, we got a HOA, whatever. We have fostered like a very unique collection of individuals that come together, and it makes me very proud to be part of it. So,
agreed.
Hopefully we do enough of those where everybody gets a chance to at least attend one. All right. That's it for our 5-star reviews. Don't forget, you can leave 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts, which you no longer need an iPod, iPad, a Mac computer. You no longer need an iPhone. You can actually do that by going to the web and just searching Apple Podcasts. Create an account or log into the account that you have and leave us a 5-star review. If you left one before, refresh the review. Maybe some new shit has happened. You have new feelings about the show. Maybe you appreciate it more than you used to. Whatever you want to do.
Yeah, use your family members and friends. If they got accounts, log up underneath theirs and leave. We'll take their 5 stars too.
Yeah, go over to your grandmother, and while she sleep, go in her purse and get her phone. And go ahead and just fill out a 5-star review for us. We don't care how we get it.
We don't care. Y'all know she don't know how to use it anyway, so go ahead and utilize it.
Yeah, okay. I don't care. If maybe they're in a coma. If they're in a coma, they're not using their phone.
They have no use at that time.
We're not telling you to go in there and take no money or nothing. We just saying go in there, take their phone while they sleep. And just go ahead. They will probably want you to use their phone for good. So just do that for us. All right, y'all. We're going to play a beat. And then we're going to get into the... Oh, wait. No, actually, we don't need to play a beat. It's so early. We can just go straight into the shows. We had 3 shows. 3064, the backup quarterback of the country, was our feedback show where we recapped our live show and then responded to listener feedback. We got 10 comments.
Oh, snap.
Appia says, TikTok is, in my opinion, the most addictive app. I had the experience of 2 hours going by and me not noticing at all, and I'm an adult. I should notice. Sorry for posting a longer farmer article. The message was just that pharma companies who almost got broke from opioid lawsuits can flourish again with the terrorists. Okay. Yeah. Totally fine. I like, this is the thing. Y'all leave feedback, but I'm the editor, I'm the host. And so sometimes y'all leave stuff and, it's not your concern to necessarily direct the show, but it's like, can I take 20 minutes of a 2 hour, already 2.5 hour feedback show and read this article? Probably not. So just make executive decision, but no apology needed. And as far as TikTok, I know it's an anecdotal thing, but I really do wonder if there's any studies on what is the most addictive social media websites. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I have no idea, but I can personally speak to myself. I've used most of them. Of course, there's some I haven't used, but I've used all the major ones. And for me, because TikTok has the endless scrolls, and TikTok has, whenever you hit something, it kind of suggests things kind of similar to that. So for me, it's almost like a time warp, and the other apps just mimic it. So I had to be aware of when like the reels and shit like that started coming up, because it was similar to it, which means it was also a time suck.
Yeah, but that's also anecdotal, right? Like that's you and her saying that are both like your user experiences. I feel the same way. That is anecdotally, I feel like TikTok is the more addictive of the apps. It's the best experience and the easiest to stay on. Brown University did a study. What makes TikTok so addictive? An analysis of the mechanisms underlying the world's latest social media craze. And it's long. I can't read it all, but like, they have 17 citations at the end. I think our anecdotal stuff will line up with what I believe these studies are going to eventually reveal. I really do think that app, more than the others, is more addictive. Just because it's just such a naked algorithm. It just does not get into its own way.
Yeah, like
in the way that, like I said, the enshittification of these other apps has actually gotten in the way of those apps. They want to make money at some point, but making money always takes a user out of the experience. It's like, now you're asking me for something. Now you're showing me an ad. Now you're showing me someone who paid for their stuff to be promoted in my feed, even though I don't follow them. Which is just another thing that makes me go, maybe I should get the fuck off of here.
Right.
TikTok does have some of that stuff. It just doesn't have it nearly as often. And the other thing that it has is that it's trying to sell you stuff and keep you in the app. So it's like if Amazon was also social media. It's not really the same. It's like, we do want you to stay in here. We don't want you to have to leave, go to PayPal, come back. We want you to stay right here.
That's why when you purchase shit through there, and it's a whole, and I know this because I've been down this rabbit hole, it's a whole genre of things of TikTok made me buy it, and it's all a bunch of Amazon shit.
Yeah.
And if you get down that rabbit hole, you can go click a button, purchase it, and loop back around, and you right back on the app.
Yeah, it's just interesting. I'm sure we'll get more definitive studies over the time, but I don't think it's like a coincidence that we all are having the anecdotal experience of like, yeah, this is the one. Tanya W42 says, I'm so glad Preston Frazier sent in his book, and I'm bummed I didn't meet him at the live show. I grew up in the 70s and 80s, so Toto is right up my alley. I just bought his book in Kindle format. Yeah, we selling books.
Oh.
I know Amazon's a little suspect these days, but a tip for those who are still Prime members: if you're placing an order and you don't need it right away, check out the slower shipping options. Oftentimes, you'll get an offer to receive digital credits that you can use for any digital orders, such as Kindle books, TV shows, movies, etc.
Okay, thank you.
Tanya W42 says, oh, and looking forward to the next book, especially if it's about the band that we suspect. I met Corey Glover at a dining event by the awesome chef Russell Jackson because I was wearing a Blackout Tips t-shirt. Listen, You wearing a Blackout Tips t-shirt around Corey, that's a shortcut, okay? He gonna know you cool people.
He is.
I'm just telling you right now, I've seen it happen in person. I've seen him wear Blackout Tips shirts. You know, I love that dude, him and Vern.
Me
and
too.
So, like,
they good people.
Yeah, like, I still, every once in a while, just have a, like, what the fuck? Like, my life, it's a pretty cool life. It might not be the biggest life in the world, but it's a pretty fucking cool life, man. Living Color is Fans Our Podcast. When we say stuff, sometimes they hear it, and vice versa. Like, that's dope. Whenever they tag us on social media, I see them rocking the shirts at the, you know, I'm always like, damn, man, it's crazy. Just two people giving our opinions in a show, in a room with some mics, and it's going around the world, you know. So yeah, it's amazing, and I'm glad you got to meet him because he good people.
He is.
Shoe Booty says, all this talk about TikTok and bonnets, I just got to chime in. I bought a bonnet off a TikTok shop. Full circle, my dudes. Full circle. Yep. That's how it goes.
TikTok be having you buying all types of shit. That's why I was like, let me get my ass out of here.
I always freak out whenever the algorithm is too good and like either my phone been listening to me or the app's been doing something, or just I search for something and I just log in somewhere and I just see like, damn, I was randomly talking about this guy. Like one day I was on a podcast, either last week on Keith and the Girl or something on that network, and a comedian's name came up that I know his work, but I don't know him. But because of what we do, I'm friends with a lot of comedians on social media, so it's not too far from my network for Facebook to suggest a friend or something to me. But literally, I had not talked about or thought about this dude for years. I said his name, and then the first thing I saw when I got into Facebook was suggesting him be my friend. I was just like, well, the algorithm is just
it's
working.
algorithming.
Ronan Raphael says, the high from the live show is everlasting and has inspired me to go into the animal saving world. I'll serve on behalf of the orcas at the UN. They need to be heard. #tag won't Kane do it. #won't Kane do it. Oh, that's not fortuitous saying that on the 17th. Hit that man with the JL Jinx. Suave P says, not to belabor the TikTok topic, but say that 3 times fast. But for those who don't seem to grasp Rod's point on it, I pose a simple exercise for you. Name your top 5 black female TV news reporters or sports anchors, and then of those 5, name the ugly one. Good luck. Damn it, I wrote this too soon. Rod literally brought up the news reporter analogy a few minutes later. Oh well. Listen, Suave, I'm good. Okay. I'm not saying I'm the best in the biz, but I mean, you guys who pause the show to leave your messages before I'm done making my point, God bless you. God bless you. Because y'all be having to leave 2 comments a lot. That's all I'm saying. Your boy be thinking of it a lot. Shout out to the overactive internal monologue, because in these days like this, I really be like, I already hit that point. What's funny is that sometimes I get these comments, the alerts for the comments in real time in my email. And so I'll get this alert and I'll be like, I'm pretty sure I said that. And then 10 minutes later, I get another alert like, damn, Rod, he did say it. I'm like, okay, cool. All right, I didn't go crazy. Because I don't re-listen to the show. I just be going off memory. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I brought that up. Michael says, so glad the candles made it to you intact. I saw them on eBay. I knew I had to get them for y'all. Thanks for all you do. Listen.
Thank you. Come on through, eBay.
I already been burning. I burnt through one of them already in the bathroom.
You can't find them shits nowhere.
That pineapple cake. Come on now. We're not fucking around with these candles over here. It's not a game when it comes to the candles, okay?
He is a candle burning bitch.
EVE says, not to be a dead horse, but I agree with you, Rod, about the topic. Being popular while being unattractive and non-white is an anomaly on that app and not the standard. In fact, now that Orange Foulius is back in office, it's gotten more racist as well. Yeah, like I said, I don't have this is not a PSA against TikTok. My biggest bone of contention is how much people are prone to defend that one app compared to all the
other apps, because we talk about them all.
Yeah, other than that, I mean, like, do what you do. As long as you know the environment, I'm not belittling anyone. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Blue Sky, Instagram, Facebook. Like, we like, I get it. But I'm just saying, like, you're walking. It's like if we said, like, oh no, TikTok, Twitter's not bad, even though Elon Musk is running it and it's trolls and it's this and it's that, because hey, Rod has 40,000 followers. It's like, nah, that doesn't absolve anything. Like that happened, but also it is Elon Musk has millions of followers.
Yeah, two things could be true at the same time.
And the vast majority of the people that are gonna be on there are people now. He's not vast majority, but a lot of the weight to what gets promoted are people that Elon Musk and conservative people want to be promoted.
Agreed.
It's okay to admit that while also still being on there. But this is one of the issues with our society right now, especially those who are hyper online. A lot of the stuff we do is more about signaling how good we are. And so, especially, this is something I've felt for years and years and years, and I've tried to express it on here. But one of the reasons I don't do a lot of consumer activism is what I would call it, right? A lot of, whether it's a boycott or a boycott. And it's not against anyone who's doing, you also don't talk bad about those who do. But the reason I don't is that there is an undercurrent that does say your money is your voice, and that is not something I really agree with. Meaning, like, I don't agree that if someone buys an R. Kelly record, they're okay with R. Kelly being a sexual predator. But in our new social media, death penalty for everything type of environment, there are people who promote that, whether it's for content, whether it's so they can say I'm better than other people, whether it's for conflict, whatever reason they do it. I find it to be less productive than it is productive. Like, it seems to be more unproductive than it is productive.
Right.
I get not understanding it. I don't buy R. Kelly's music, for example. I don't listen to it.
Nope.
But at the same time, it doesn't mean much to me that someone else did, and I wouldn't just jump to a leap of like, so then you think it's okay for people to sexual assault kids. I wouldn't jump to that leap.
Right.
I would need them to give me more than that and be like, this is why I defend, like, I'm defending R. Kelly now. And the same, if you watch Ant-Man 3, I don't go, so you okay with Jonathan Majors beating people? Those two things don't mean the same thing to me. And I think our consumer culture, when we it low-key kind of gives in completely to capitalism and says, I am my dollars and my dollars are me. And I think all of us are more than our dollars if we want to be, and all of us, and our dollars are less than the sum of us if we want them to be. It's not that they have no effect. It's not that some people don't buy into that completely. I just don't, and I do recognize those who do. So like when you're looking at Koch brothers or something, that like obviously, they have decided that their money is their speech, and they're going to use that to spread as much bad in the world as they can. But when it's just somebody trying to make the difference between like, do I need to drive an extra 20 minutes to go to Walmart, or do I go to the Target up the street? I'm not judging them, and I think it was a bad mistake that people gave into that, and just so that we could all get off on the judgment and being on a high horse of looking at those who make different decisions and go, oh, so that means and then take it to the extreme instead of just like, I don't know what that means.
Right. And the thing is, particularly with American dollars, it's going to be messy, like regardless. And that's just real. Your dollar spent, particularly here in America, is going to be messy. And that's just realistic, because everything we do, everything we touch, everything we infiltrate, everything is connected. Like if you dig down to the root of anything, the foundation of anything in this country is going to be rooted into something that is not good. You can decide to do what you want to do with your dollars and what you don't want to do with your dollars. The choice is yours. But at the same time, because I said American money is messy, you know, people spend their money in all types of ways out of necessity. It doesn't mean they agree. It doesn't mean that me spending my dollar here actually supports the things that you're doing. Sometimes it does. Most of the time it doesn't. And so I do agree with what you're saying, right? There needs to be more nuance, and people don't have nuance online. So it's if you're this, then you're this. And I think a lot of those same arguments were applied to the Palestine argument. A lot of these arguments, people just got stupid, and they just was like, I don't want to hear logic. I think this, therefore, if you don't agree with me, therefore, fuck you. And you're like, nah, dog.
I think giving in all the way to this ecosystem of like there are no degrees of good and bad. There are no degrees of nuance. It is extreme one way or extreme the other. I think, I think it does lead to exactly what you're saying. Like, I do think it's like that's how you end up with, this Democratic politician who is calling for a ceasefire is as bad as this Republican who is saying turn this place into a sheet of glass.
Right.
And there's no difference to me discernibly. And I'd rather just not vote at all, even though I know not voting means that the sheet of glass people get to be in charge.
Agreed.
I really do think that is a huge problem. I don't have a solve for it. And I don't know how you get out of this, but yeah, that I agree.
Right. I'm about to say, and also for people that have more nuance with things, it's like a lot of those people have to fight more because a lot of those extreme people are the loudest and they want to drum everybody else out, and you have to be adamant and stand. No, we're not doing this. Y'all need to be realistic.
You're allowed. You don't. First of all, that you don't have to be adamant. You don't actually have to say shit.
No, you don't. You can just.
You're
be quiet.
choosing to say stuff, and so if you put something out here knowing the environment that it is, you're gonna get pushback.
True.
Whether you're reasonable or right or not, it just don't even fucking matter at this point. That's why I choose carefully what I say and put out into different formats. I feel much more comfortable on this podcast than I do talking about shit on Twitter. It just seemed like a waste of fucking time to me.
And energy.
Yeah, it just seemed like a waste of time, and you can't really control it. And you whatever you say there, you need to be willing to like let go and be like,
you have to.
All right, they decided that this means something else. Fuck it, like you have to be able to do that. But a lot of people don't think of it that way because they're not creatives and they don't live in this space and they don't have to think about that all the time. So I feel bad for the mental health of people who have never gone through that or don't experience it, and then it happens to them for the first time. I feel bad for people that are like spiraling out and they reach out to social media hoping that it won't be that, but sometimes it is,
Yes,
but
it is.
Yeah, but at any rate, back to this comment. Let's see. Honestly, okay. Yeah, I saw a comment on someone threatening a black creator with a noose in a tree, and people said they reported the comment, but TikTok found no violation. Yeah, why? That's okay now.
That's fine now.
That's okay now. Like once you capitulate to Trump and conservatives on TikTok, you have to let them do what they do. You can't have the liberal bastion that you painted yourself as for years. You can't be on his dick and also be like, but we're going to control him. He is the opposite of control, as is his followers.
He's chaos.
Yeah, that libs of TikTok shit is real. Like, they harass and dox people and shit. Like, I don't know. I always worry that people defending that app are the most prone to get fucked up over there, because it's different when you're in a bad neighborhood. It's like you drive through a bad neighborhood, you lock your doors, you roll your windows up, you turn the music down, you keep your head on the swivel. But the motherfucker that's just like doors unlocked, windows down, riding slow, music blasting, it's like, okay, well, I guess you don't know what kind of neighborhood you in. Good luck getting through there. Maybe nothing happens, but maybe you get carjacked. I don't know. Honestly, I won't be sad if it gets banned permanently. Remember when Vine was popular? Now it's gone. If TikTok goes, something else will replace it. Yeah. And whatever it replaces, it'll eventually be bad too. It's just what happens.
Yep, because they promise you things that they can't actually execute.
Let's check comments on YouTube. Looks like we got 2 comments. Let's see. Enigua64 says, had to pause the podcast to respond to the voicemail where the man was talking about his daughter and her perspective on Karen. For me personally, it was Karen Hunter that brought me to your show, but what made me stay is Karen. Aww. I can't remember what the topic was specifically, but it was about the election, and Karen went off, and I thought this is exactly the viewpoint I need to hear in this space for me. This is exactly the viewpoint I needed to hear. This is the space for me. I love Karen, everything she brings to the show. It absolutely would not be the same without her smiley face. And I did not get to go to the live show this year, but hopefully I can make the next one. But I did look at the pictures on Instagram, and Karen did look absolutely beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
She did. Agreed. And the poll for the episode was, do you go to the gym regularly? 25% yes, 75% no. There you go. Obviously I'm in the 25% now.
And I guess I'm in the 75%.
Well, I wasn't saying no names.
I tell on myself.
Okay, all right. Well, it is what it is. Let's just move on. All right, the next episode is called 3065 Bigger Bubbles. We got 16 comments on this one. Woo.
All right, what was we talking
Glad
about?
we only did 3 episodes this week. Y'all was on it. Tanya says, oh boy, yeah, I help a musician friend with fulfilling his merch orders, and when I heard Rod say he was sending the posters international, I cringe. International postage is ridiculously expensive. USPS is definitely the best option in most cases, but
yes, it is.
You need to get prepaid labels so you can just drop them in the box at your post office. If they don't have those, just hand them over without the pain of negotiating the purchase. My favorite service for this is Pirate Ship. It's free and it does a great job of leading you through the process. Just buy a cheap scale to weigh your packages and you're in business. Yeah, I've done that before. I used to do stuff on eBay. I still had a scale in here. But to be honest, at this point, part of the reason I like going to the post office, it's so stupid. And I know I seem like a very liberal hippie type motherfucker for this, but one, I do like going in there and like actually using the service my tax dollars pay for. I do like the stories of the environment and seeing the people in there. Something crazy almost always happens when I go to the post office. And now I buy stamps and stuff, and it's hokey, and I like mailing y'all stuff out, and I like mailing the Christmas cards and stuff. Like, it's a lot of work, but at the end of the day, I don't know, there's something old school and fun about it. It's like we live in such a digital, don't see people in person, do everything through the AI type of world that when I can, if it's not too much hassle, I don't mind going to the mailbox and doing all the stuff. But I do appreciate the advice, and I could do it that way. I could do it right here from the house, but I just don't. Strangely, USPS site itself doesn't give you all the options such as first class mail or media mail. Media mail is so cheap if you're sending items like books, vinyl albums, CDs, DVDs, etc. that are heavy. Having said that, I get your whole experience ended up being very cool, but you may not want to go through that every time. I do want to go through it every time. It made my day to watch that lady get cussed out.
That was an adventure. I tell you that much.
And then to watch that video with them afterwards. Like, I got the time. Fuck it. I'll make the time for some mess. Newsy says nothing makes me happier than watching the interaction with a bad customer and being the next person in line who gets to commiserate with the employee. It's the ultimate high, ain't it? And I took it to the next level. Like, even if that white lady was not wrong, I was still like, I'm on y'all side. Y'all got the power in the mail.
Ain't that true? Y'all can throw my shit away and nobody get shit.
Okay. I've gone back to that post office a couple times now throughout the week, so I don't think they listen to the podcast. So I feel safe saying it here, guys. Okay. I'm trusting everybody here that's listening to the show. The thousands of you. Them black ladies was wrong. The white lady was right. But I sold that white lady out. My sense of justice was like, I just need to get my shit mailed. Maybe it's reparations. I don't know. Okay. The white lady seemed correct to me. She was bullshitting now. She shouldn't have been in there trying to have a nice day at 4:45 or whatever. 4:45. That part is on her.
That's where she fucked up.
But I feel
the day
like
was almost over.
The impulse wasn't wrong to want everyone to have a nice day. She just didn't understand the time. It was not that time, okay? These were not those people. But like in a court of law, the white lady probably would have won the case. That's all I'm saying. But at any rate, she was wrong to me because I needed their services. And I wasn't fitting to be like, ma'am, there's not how we talk to our elders. I was like, I don't see nothing. Also hate when a person in line tries to loudly complain about the service to me. Oh, I hate that. Leave me out of it. That's your fault. That you and I just want to get through the line, ma'am. I don't want them having an attitude because I was over here kikiing with your ass and I don't even agree with you.
Right.
I turned to Helen Keller real fast. You're not about to get me caught up because you're impatient. Great story. Love hearing stuff like that. Thank you. A lot of people love that. Appia says, we live in deer country. They home doesn't get smaller here, but they like crossing the street anyway. Sometimes when we have bridges on autobahns, especially for deer. Once a deer ran into my car, but luckily it created only some damage on the outside of my car, and like a smooth criminal just disappeared in the forest after the crime.
I know.
But we don't have snakes here. I prefer the deer. Well, first of all, the deer sound like they should have filled out some insurance paperwork.
Right.
Was it not supposed to not be in your country or something? Why did it leave so fast? Rona Raphael says in response to this, almost everywhere I've been in Deutschland is deer country. I wonder if the meat is on the menu. I've had deer adobo back during my Virginia days. I'll look for some to try on my next trip. And she said 100% there's even deer wurst, which I believe is like deer sausage. Arby also says, I'm a white woman and I can get classically aggressive, like yelling and being frightening. Like my mother, we are no sweet little flowers. We are strong. I try not to go there very often, but I absolutely can. I'm pretty good on it. Not to brag. I do yoga and meditation to oppose it and it works, but I'm pretty sure I'm not like the black woman haters say. Yeah, I don't think I like the dudes that hate black women and try to pull out the white woman or non-black woman Pokemon card. It's just insulting every single type of woman.
It insults everybody.
Yeah. And it just implies that it's people don't mind, from my understanding. There's a type of person that doesn't mind being dehumanized if they find the dehumanization flattering. So if there's a type of white woman that doesn't mind you dehumanizing her, if you're saying, hey, you're better than black women, it's like, well, I'll take that compliment. And that's a bad person that takes that compliment. And the same way that I don't feel comfortable with the whole idea of like the black man is the big penis sex god. Mm-hmm. I know people are like, wow, what a positive reputation. I want people to want me. But I also feel very fucking dehumanizing in addition to just not being true of every black man.
Right.
It's also just very dehumanizing and reduces us to just fucking like sexual breeding partners and shit. And I don't, like I said, I understand it. And I understand like fetish and stuff. I know that we're talking about a different category.
Yeah, fetish
people are often
different.
into shit that they just like, they're attracted to what they're opposed to. But I'm just speaking in general. You'll see this language on like dating websites. And there is a type of black dude that gets excited by it because it is a physical, sexual thing or whatever. But I often find it a little bit like dehumanizing. And I'm not surprised when you find out that the people that, placate those sensibilities often have no actual respect for the humanity of the black person that they are objectifying.
Right.
I know it's a thin line, and we all have our different preferences and objectifications and people that we're attracted to and stuff. So I get all that, but especially once you bring it to a romance area, like we're not even just talking about being attracted to somebody. It seems dehumanizing. And so when you say black women angry, all other women good and not angry, it's just untrue and fucking insulting.
Yeah, it is. And like you said, it's insulting to all the people you're talking about. And and when you try to explain that, people, they just don't want to hear that because they think they're right.
Yeah, I don't get it. But yeah, I don't think no good person I think would take that. I don't want to hear that shit.
I don't either. You
know what I mean? Like, I don't want to hear that shit. I don't like it. That is a thing that I will normally disrupt a conversation about, is if someone's like doing that in front of me. And it's and in a selfish way, is because it's not necessarily that I'm like, I'm such a good person. Don't you talk about my sisters like that, brother. In a selfish way, it's literally like, I don't want you thinking I'm the kind of person you could talk like that around. Because I don't want to hear this shit.
Right, and
so I just had to nip it in the bud, because I've had that happen to me at like a YMCA or playing basketball or something, and somebody will start that conversation on the sideline, and I'll check them, and I'd love to pat myself on the back and be like, because I'm just such a great guy, but part of it is not about, there could be no black women around. It's not about like standing up for this. It's literally like, bro, I don't want to have to hear this bullshit every day.
Right.
So just
if you don't nip it
I'm
in
not
the
the
bud,
one.
Right.
I'm not the one. You go and fucking do that shit over there. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
That's such bullshit to me. And I don't want you thinking like escalating that type of behavior around me. In addition to most of the time it's hack and not funny anyway. So it's just sound like a fucking Def Jam comedian
right.
set. Like we still doing that?
Right, and it's bad, and it's also, I know with you being at the Y and things like that. Then I remember you was saying like one time, because I rarely come to the Y, but I think one time you asked me to bring you something. They was shocked that your wife was black.
Yeah, that's because at this Y, it's like one of the most expensive quote unquote Ys in the country. Not expensive in like how much it costs to join, but I think they there's a rich community. They put a lot of money into it. So there's black guys that go there all the time. They play basketball and all this stuff. But there's a certain type of black dude that be there. Not everyone, obviously. Not even the majority. But there's enough of them that are into that like white culture space shit and white women better and black women bad and all that type of bullshit.
All those hang-ups.
Yeah. And I don't know what would make them assume my wife wasn't black. And it wasn't a lot of guys. It was just like one or two guys. But I have no reason. It was shocking to me, not because it was shocking to me they assumed anything.
Right.
Like it's not like it's not like our conversations were about black women or race I've never said anything negative about black women around them. I've never agreed with them saying anything negative around. So I don't know why they assume that other than just in their minds, it was like, I assumed you could get a white woman because you have this job and whatever, you come to this Y.
Almost like you settled.
So then why wouldn't you have had a white woman or whatever? I'm like, I don't know what y'all talking about. I was more surprised just because the amount of race shit I talk. It's very few brothers that got white wives that talk the way I talk about race, and it's not that there's none of them, but like, you know, it's very. I just have not found that to be an experience that happens often where I'm like, oh, okay. Anyway, good luck. Ramsey D. Jenkins says 5 stars for the ice cream and post office chronicles. Mary says Karen's DMV story took me out. Between almost losing her life walking towards that crazy man and this, Rod is Karen's full-time handler. Keep the talent safe, Rod. Ronnie Raphael says 3 quick things. Frost Nixon was so good, I'm considering giving the order to one of my lieutenants to produce a baby so I could craft and bestow him with that nickname. Thank you. 2, I love listening to you guys. Legends commercial is my favorite ad to listen to, especially when you guys say Baccarat. I only gamble in Madripoor, so forgive the spelling if wrong. Awesome-tastic. 3, everyone listening and in the chat, start the applause right now. That Star Wars was right about politics. My goodness. Better than awesome-tastic. I got to find the intergalactic word. The best podcast in the world. Thanks, man. Thank you. Yeah, Frost Nixon I just was giggling thinking about that. I tweeted that this weekend, and you know my tweets don't always get traction, but I was like, that shit's funny to me. And then the Star Wars thing was just fun because as we kept talking about it, especially as Karen was contributing, the analogy just kept getting more and more accurate to me.
Yes.
And I was like,
shit. I was like, oh, that makes sense.
George Lucas is really a fucking genius, and we all should apologize. I'm sorry.
We should.
I'm sorry, George. If you listening to this, bro, I
apologize.
I've never really ragged you in the first place, but I know I've made little quips about especially Clone Wars, and the live action, and been like, oh, the politics doesn't. Who wants to see that? Wrong.
It's very much needed.
Apropos.
Somebody's saying they racist. They racist out here.
Cenia says, man, Rod, your analysis on the Democratic Party was on point, at least in my opinion. When talking to the people in the Dem Party in my state, we've all kind of came to the same conclusion that the problem with Kamala's campaign was that she only had 100 days, and also that because the party had been so deeply fractured with ousting of Joe Biden, there was no unifying mandate, which led to her talking to anybody and everybody, even those who were inconsequential. Yeah, I still remember when they talked to the black men that were like wanted crypto, and they came up with the black man agenda. I appreciate that they did the work. I understand that means they took black men seriously, blah blah blah, but also fuck them niggas.
Right.
If we are this deep in the weeds and it's this late, I don't know what's wrong with them brothers that they needed to hear about crypto.
Right.
Like, whatever their concerns were, as a black man, those were not my concerns. And I thought that was very fucking weird. You know, guys that were pitching, comedians and shit, pitching like, she need to do something where we don't need to pay child support. Hey, man, not the fucking time. And it sucks because they had to scramble and do as much as they could, and social media was on their ass every step of the way, and people was really trying to drum up negative campaigns the whole time. You know, it's why I'm conflicted about the Obama talking to black men thing, because my problem wasn't that Obama had anything negative to say about some black men. It was that the black men he was talking to literally in that room are not those guys.
Agreed.
So they don't need to be fussed at all. But are there some brothers I would like to see checked? Yes, absolutely. But there's some of every group, and there's less of those brothers than any other male group that need to be checked, right? So I like I said, to say I had conflicted feelings where I was like, I roll my eyes, but also like, do we even have time for this? Are the black men gonna be the problem? I don't think that's gonna be the problem if she doesn't make it.
And they were not the problem.
Right.
It's a subsection of a subsection of, not trying to find out a subsection of ain't shit niggas. And we not worried about y'all.
And making it, too many people have made too much content off of black men versus black women.
Right.
And so I saw people continually moving the bar to, well, I don't care if 80-something% of black men voted for Kamala. That's still not good enough. They still a problem, so they can still shit on black men. Mm-hmm. And at that point, I have to say, then, are you also spending that same energy on the 8% of black women that voted for Trump? No, because that would be ridiculous and not productive at all to put that much energy and time into a group of people that, honestly, at this point, I don't even see what could sway that group of people if they voted for Trump again in 2024. So, like, whatever those 8%, 6%, whatever that number is of black women, they're gone. And similarly, whatever the number is of black men that decided in this last election to go for Trump over Kamala, they're gone to me. They're not coming back. There's no argument to make. There's no crypto policy to pass. Fuck them dudes. So I can't really get with wasting time on that. But yeah, I totally agree with you in that not very much time was left, and with 100 days, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, and I do agree with you where it started off fractured. Like, people, and I'm just keeping it real, people underestimated how bad the fallout of Joe Biden stepping down would be. A lot of people really thought Joe Biden stepping down, it was going to be this smooth-ass transition, and everybody was just going to rah, and get along. And for the most part, most people did. But there is a subsection like me who feel a certain way, and I will always feel a fucking way about it. So it's still a quote-unquote fracture there, you know, but I'm still going to vote and all that shit, but I still feel a certain way.
I just don't know what the fuck was supposed to be done. That's all. It's a bad situation. Everybody is like upset about like what seating what the seat numbers on the Titanic. And it's just like, I don't even understand what's the quibble about at this point.
The whole
it's
shit
fucked
going
up.
down.
It's fucked up. Like, we just had an emergency situation. And even the people that say stuff like, well, they knew he was fucked up. If they knew he was fucked up, we didn't know he was fucked up. You know, not enough. And part of the reason we didn't know he was fucked up, and this is why no one will take responsibility or ownership of it, is because y'all were saying it before he was fucked up. When he was fucking up, like just gaffes and all this type of stuff, y'all were letting it, y'all were acting like he was fucked up the whole time when he was competent. And so he does this bad debate, and then it's like, we've been telling you the whole time. It's like, no, this is different. It is scary to me. This does feel different to me. I did watch that debate. I will not deny what I saw. And if you got to come up with an emergency plan, then you have to come up with an emergency plan. But like, there's so many assumptions that are being made that just, I don't see the proof of these assumptions. Like, oh, he was always fucked up this whole time. Was he though? Or is that just a thing we're saying now?
Right.
To make Democrats look the worst we can possibly make them look.
Agreed.
if we had a primary. But did we really need we didn't have time to do a primary, but did we need a primary? Let's be honest.
Right, and every name y'all threw up immediately stepped down. So was there even
But even if they didn't step down, what would have been the point?
Right, what would have been the point?
Let's say you have a primary. More than likely Kamala Harris wins anyway. So now what?
Wasted time.
What will we ultimately need to be able to do? Get in line and vote for her. And as far as everything else, I mean, optically, the rallies were attended. Numbers wise, we have the data of new registrations. We had the data of most volunteer. We had the data of most donated money from single donators, not fucking big corporate interests of all fucking time. If that's a losing campaign, then I don't know what a winning campaign even is at this point.
I agree.
So just leave me the fuck out of it. It's not my responsibility. Also, I don't know what Gavin Newsom is on, but these politicians base too much of their strategy on media consumption data. The data is biased and unreliable when you consider who owns the top media platforms and outlets. If he is actually trying to position himself for a presidential run, this talking to white supremacist strategy is going to keep more progressives at home on election day, which is how we lose. Right. I don't understand what he's saying. I don't know what he's doing, but you know what? I that's a lie. That's a lie. I know what he's doing, and I do understand why he's doing it, because I said that's what will happen. So actually, yeah, he's doing what I said was going to happen. Everyone said if they lose this election, it'll be a referendum on Democrats and they're going to have to get more radical and more progressive. And I said that is not what will happen, because that has never happened in American history. What will happen is that they will go, how do we get to the centrist / conservative voters who might be willing to vote Democrat?
Right.
And that's what Bill Clinton did. And that's what the fuck is going to happen. That's what, like, Biden had to do it. Even with him having a progressive presidency, when he campaigned, he had to campaign to the center of the country.
Right.
That's what Gavin Newsom is gearing himself up to be. And it's sad, because if that works, it doesn't make us have more progress. It makes us have less.
Agreed.
On the progressive side, we have the numbers of people just show up. So what makes people get up and go vote? Based on Biden and Obama's campaigns, I'd say inspiration or anxiety. I'll get to that in a second. Dems are primed to win 26 and 2028, assuming we can actually have elections. If they can define and simplify their agenda and the voters actually show up to the polls, I guess we'll see. Yeah, so this is what I'll say about that. I think we do a lot of retroactive assigning of credit to campaigns, and my personal, maybe very cynical belief at this moment is that it's not about the messages of the campaign. I think we do a lot of disservice to ourselves when we put that much credit in the campaigns or the politicians' hands. I truly think it's the economy.
Yes, I agree because if you sit back and think about it, how did we get Obama, y'all? Like, people that were alive and around at that time, how did we get Obama? Everything was fucked up, y'all. And they was like, damn, well, I guess we'll give it to a nigga. How did we get Biden? All of us about to die. We was like, damn, I guess we get somebody out here that actually give a fuck and will get vaccines. America does not move unless it's forced to move.
Yeah, I think if the coronavirus pandemic didn't happen under Trump, he gets 2 terms.
Me too.
That's what I'm resigned to believe now. I don't think, obviously, with him being reelected, his bigotry wasn't the deal breaker for people. It was just, my job is fucked up, my life is fucked up, all the businesses are closing. And it's not all of us, obviously. There's probably like a 50-50 divide on the people that are committed to just one party or the other. Or probably 60-40 divide, if we're being honest. But it's that swing between presidents that's just like, I don't know, auto industry's looking fucked up. I guess we should try a different politician. And I don't believe that it's any economic message. I don't believe it's any social message for those type of voters. I think a lot of them is like, once Democrats get in office and they run the country better, and wages and unemployment and all this stuff is doing well, or doing better. Let's not say well, let's say better
than before.
But it's doing better than before, or it feels stable. They go, well, we can shake this up, and I can either stay home, or I can swing back to my conservative social ideas, which is now that I have a job and I feel secure in this job, I don't want black people to have a job. I don't want brown people to have a job. I don't want women to have a job. I don't want LGBTQ people to have a job. I don't want gay people to have rights. I don't want, it's like whatever that shit is, it kicked back up because they think on Maslow's hierarchy of needs, they think that bottom of the pyramid is like satiated. So that's like, what are my top wants? Oh, my top wants is actually to fuck other people over. Yep. Shoe Booty says Rod's description of the Debbie Downer Dems is so right. We are that meme of the guy shooting himself and then looking at the camera like, why did the GOP do this to us? Oh, that's Eric Andre shooting Hannibal Buress.
Yes. I love that damn show.
It's like when people give dating advice and say you can't love someone else if you don't love yourself. Democratic Party needs more self-esteem and less navel gazing if we are going to beat a cult of personality. Yeah, you need those voters, man. Like, I'm not even saying, like, I try not to use them interchangeably, and I try to make this distinction every single time I bring it up. And I know it's a bit confusing, but when I say Democrats, I am mostly talking about the people.
Yes.
Not the politicians,
right? The masses,
not the system, just the actual human beings that say they're liberal and progressive and they want good things. Mm-hmm. They got to get their shit together.
Yes, they do. You need to be more than words.
The politicians reflect us, not the other way around. So things that happen in this country are the responsibility of the people that say they're good but didn't sit home so they can feel like they're even better than participating in the system. Erica says the DMV and the post office are hell. I'll never forget my 6-hour adventure to obtain my NC license. I'm dreading going to ship these cookies to my sister. Every time I go, there's a line. EV says that post office story had me cracking up, and nope, I would not have intervened and minded my black business. I do kind of have to commend that old white lady for not dropping the N-bomb in today's political climate. Well, I'm gonna be honest, she ain't want that smoke, because it's not like them black women behind the counter was the only black women. It wasn't the only black people.
There was all types of Negroes in there.
Yeah, I would have definitely like kicked her cane from under her if she would have said that shit. Like, come on now. She knew she was playing an away game. She gets no credit for not saying the N-word. She said it when she got in the car, for sure. I bet she
say it over there.
I bet she wanted to. You know what? Welcome to the cookout. Appia says, I love that you see the bright side. I agree. Bitches on the nice, non-racially offensive. Appia says, my privilege, our post office is in a bodega style shop in my city. It's very fast and the people are nice. We have this model in Germany where it doesn't have to be an official post office. If the shop can provide a corner and the employees for the post office business is fine, they get, of course, what to do, all the equipment. The corner is recognizable by the yellow door. The post office is perfect. I don't ever have to do my DMV because it's a company Volkswagen I drive and the company does my DMV stuff for me. That's nice. Mm-hmm. Now that I got this out, it's time to be grateful, or if you know me, feel guilty for how good I have it in this context. Yeah, it's interesting because here we have to take a test sometimes. Mm-hmm. And so if your company is doing it for y'all, do y'all not take a driver's license test? Like, right. You don't have to drive a car. Or is it just like after you take it one time, you're good for the rest of your life? That's interesting, Appia. Mm-hmm. Let's check the YouTube for this episode. Bigger Bubbles 3065. Many people enjoyed. 21 comments. God damn.
What was we talking about, child?
People did like this episode a lot. Alicia says, at 2020, Karen is a mess too. It's the Aries. We think so outside the box that the regulars just don't understand. JJ Smile says, birthright papers, Karen. You got me dying laughing. Nathalie says, this episode was so good as usual. The part where you called Jon Stewart a weak ass bitch was especially good, and it was straight bars after that. Made my day. Thank you. Yeah. I mean, I agree with myself. I had time to think about it. I don't regret anything I said. I think that I don't get him. Mm-mm. Smart Dave 60 says, in regard to your social media chart, being progressive is to be anti-corporate and pro-worker. So these social media platforms, which are businesses, are less inclined to support progressive channels. Yeah, almost all these businesses are like that. There are some where you have leaders and CEOs that have decided to their corporation is going to try to be ethical, but for the vast majority of these, especially these startup social media Silicon Valley ass companies, they have no real value other than to use the users who are on them
because they're the product.
As the product. So we can't think that they're going to create an equitable ecosystem And yeah, a lot of their stuff is going to give in to craving capitalism, which in America is going to be conservatism. Like, whether you think capitalism can have ethics or not, that's not really for me to decide for you. But I do know that the people who are most cravenly hyper capitalists are conservatives in America. You can't spell Jedi without DEI. The ice cream cone Yoda licks, says AC. That's facts.
That's hilarious.
At 1:16:14, you are so right. You pointed out how frustrating it can be with these political parties. So many Democrats have this purity standard where if the politician isn't as liberal as they want them, they refuse to support them, while the Trump supporters will back him no matter what. Yep.
Right.
I just want to know. Let me know when y'all tired of losing, man.
Right. Let me know when you're
tired
of losing.
I'm here.
Until then, this is gonna be wash, rinse, repeat.
The Midas touch might be the only blue bubble in that graphic that is not guilty of dim bashing, says Joseph. I don't know that work, and I'm not denigrating. I just don't know that work like that. Uchiha says, can I ask the origin of the folding chair and bullet ball? Shout out to Ramsey PH Dunn, who said, here's a list of the episodes that cover the history of bullet ball and the folding chair. 173, bullet ball extreme. 2271, bullet ball 2021. 1797, bullet ball explained. 1095, bullet ball redux. And folding chair episode 2749, the Montgomery Sweet Tea Party from April 7, 2023 connects a bullet ball to folding chair, replaced the taser. Girl, thank you.
Somebody did their homework.
That's a fan. God damn.
Well, I know we've done several episodes of it.
Ramsey also says, Iron with Karen and the ice cream this past weekend. We went Saturday after 7:30 at Brahms, and everyone was out getting ice cream. Yeah, it was crazy.
It was nuts.
Michael says, this is a brilliant episode. They want a bigger bubble. Will follow me to glory. Killing analysis. Thank you. Thank you. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Cool shirt, says unknown user.
If I thought about your shirt.
Trying to see what shirt I even had on. Oh, the shirt that's my man with the fluffy clouds. And they used to be on PBS painting. Wow,
Ross.
Yeah, Bob Ross.
Mm-hmm.
Hello again. I'm your gender critical listener, says Lucky Eagle 6440. Democrats have to move to the middle and make small changes towards the left as they gain more power. That's the only way we progress. If you push too fast or too hard, there are people who will rebel, and that's what we're living in now with Trump. Trump is the devil, and his supporters are demons, and they are trying to make this country hell. I love the gains we made in this country: Social Security, Obamacare, the ability for black people to enter the middle class through government jobs, voting rights, DEI. And it kills me to see us lose everything black people fought for these centuries. We black Americans made this country really great and bled in their soul for generations to make it better. I don't want to give that up so easily. Two things I hope Democrats start doing immediately. One, Democrats have to stop bringing up trans people in every interview. This really hurts us. I hope Dem stop mentioning trans issues altogether. I'm not saying trans people should not exist. I like what Tim Walz had to say about it when he said everyone should mind their own business about other people's business. I agree with this. This is a very small minority. Let them do what they do, but we don't have to talk about it every single time we're trying to save our democracy. Maybe that means they go back into the shadows, but they go into the shadows in a country that is still democracy and where people are not being disappeared for protesting. Honestly, a lot of moderates just don't want to hear about it or think about it anymore. If the Dems stop talking about it so much, there will be less focus on the community. Well, number one, let me finish reading your point. You always compare our struggle to the trans struggle. I completely reject that, but I'm not going to fight about that. Moderates, I'm talking about our other black moderates. Those are the people we have into getting back to drop this trans stuff. They are not going to be anti-black issues. This last sentence made no sense. But let me explain something to you real quick, Lucky Eagle. The first part of this is Democrats did not bring up trans issues often at all.
No, they did not.
At all. Like, what's very ironic is that you have been, like many other people, you have been completely triggered by your biases against trans people by Trump and the ads that he put out.
Yes.
So many actual trans people, actual LGBTQ advocates will tell you Kamala Harris would not talk about those things during her campaign for the most part. You look at almost every campaign stop, it was not an issue she brought up or broached on her own. If she did talk about it, it's normally because she was asked about it. So you've already conceded a fault. You've already basically put a falsehood out here, and you've conceded that ground, right? You're like, oh yeah, that. And it's because you're biased against trans people. You're transphobic, so now you want to turn this into a referendum on trans people because Trump put out an ad that every 5 minutes said something about Kamala was giving trans people sex change surgeries and hundreds of thousands of dollars in prison, which wasn't true. So I don't fight on lies. You can do that, but I'm not going to fight you on some lies over here. We have to share the same reality or we can't have this conversation. The other part is I compare all struggles that are about privilege, all struggles that are about unfairness, all struggles that are about not letting someone have freedom to the black struggle. A comparison is not saying something is equal. It is simply saying that in the way that these things are relatable, I can analyze both. If you are incapable of such ability to follow that logic, then we just can't relate. But I don't really bicker or go back and forth with people about it. You are the one who lacks the imagination, not me. You are the one who cannot follow me, not the other way around. I can follow your simple caveman bigotry logic. That's easy. Anybody can see that I don't have to agree with it to follow it. It's simple. But for me, I don't think it's very complicated, and this is the way my brain works. And then the third thing I'll say about this point is black people were not the reason Democrats lost this election.
Nope.
So for you to say like, well, we need to get these black transphobes back in the fold. Why? They didn't lose the election for Democrats. Black people's turnout wasn't lower or some shit.
No, it was not.
Black people didn't vote for her in less of a. If anything, black men voted higher for her than they did under Biden. So I reject the entire lie that you wrote up here with. Whether you just didn't know you were lying or whether you thought you were going to trick us with lies. But these are lies. If we can't share facts, then we can't really share a conversation. So I reject all of that shit. Now, will this be what happens? Possibly. I still predict a lot of Democrats are going to fight over the soul of that party, and it's going to become, how do we become basically conservatives? Yep. But let me tell you something, dog. I don't know why they would stop at trans people if what you're saying is right. Because you know who else need to take their ass back in the shadows and stop fucking up progress for everybody else? People that say stuff like defund the police. People that say stuff like Black Lives Matter.
Right.
People that use words like white supremacy and systemic oppression and all. They should take their very inconvenient ass issues that don't affect the vast majority of the people in this country as far as they're concerned in any negative way.
Right. Don't impact them at all.
They should take their ass somewhere and shut up and dribble and just let us cater to the white people that we think will actually go vote.
Right.
We don't want to hear about your issues either.
Right.
You should be happy that you live in a country where they're not abducting people or kicking people out for disagreeing. That should be enough for you, and fuck your rights. That's really what you're saying. And so that's why you have to reject my comparison, because you want to have the privilege of what we would call black activism in America without ceding that ground to anyone else. Everyone else's issues after ours needs to stop mattering. But the issues that you specifically want to have, that you do want the Democratic Party and the country to uphold for the 13% of us that live in America, that make up the American populace, the 13%, meaning the minority of black people, like of a population in America are black. You want that 13% to be front and center on that docket, though. You want our rights to be up there being pushed for. You want people to be allied with us. And that is the real issue on the Democratic Party side, is that y'all selfish motherfuckers don't want to be allied with nobody. Everybody want just their a la carte ass freedoms. And then if everybody else supposed to just bend over and fucking take it. And I say, fuck that. So I, honest to God, if this is how the Democrats and Democratic voters lose, then we deserve it. Then we need to suffer. We must suffer together. And maybe the suffering will be enough for your small ass mind to wake up and be like, oh damn, maybe I need to stop tripping on trans people because I have bigger problems.
Got bigger problems.
Because that's not a trans problem.
Nope.
Being deported is not a trans problem. Trans people could just as easily write the same fucking message about you when some bad shit happened to black people. Hey, cops killing a black man for selling Lucy cigarettes, not a trans problem. Fuck them blacks. What Democrats need to do is get on this gender affirmation surgery. That's what the fuck they could be saying. But that's not what the big tent is. We all got our little fucking Venn diagram, and everybody little circle overlap just a little bit. And what I'm saying here is concentrate on that overlap, because that is what can bring us together. You know, it's that Fannie Lou Hammer. Your freedom is shackled and chained to mine. That's what it is. And so I find your selfishness to be defeatist and short-sighted and limited, because your selfishness is literally stopping that next person from getting their freedom and then keeping you from getting your own. I find it stupid. Two, we also have to take a different line on immigration. The majority of Americans are not pro open borders and feel invaded. Democrats have to change the rhetoric about this, not to be as extreme as Trump, but to move to the middle on this. Democrats are already doing that. Mm-hmm. Like, you sound like a person that listens to a lot of Republican, or you listen to a lot of the big bubbles. That's what you sound like. Because the big bubbles, Republicans will lie and tell you Democrats that want open borders, and no, that's not true. That's not how Biden governed. That's definitely not how Obama governed. So those things are not true. They had an immigration bill that Trump shot down.
Yes!
So you have accepted the Trump lies as your new truth, and then you write up here with this bullshit to us, people that don't share these same set of facts with you, because they're not true. And Democrats do talk about immigration just because they're like, hey, we should have a program for dreamers or naturalized immigration or whatever, does not mean that they're just like, open border, guys, come on in. Mm-mm. No one is asking Democrats to change their platform on black people. Of course not. You don't want that. Of course you don't. Why would you want that? You're selfish. You want them to change it on everything else. A large majority of people are asking them to change their platform on these other two things. You said I was selfish for worrying about black people first. Well, I am. That's just what I'll be. Good, then I'm going to stop reading this, because fuck your selfish ass. How about that? Now I'm going to be selfish and move on with my podcast and don't write up here again. Damn. Hire user from channel, nigga. PDR says, I like how Karen mentioned the value of a passport. I got my first passport when a friend invited me to Mexico. 8 months later, I lost my passport while bar hopping near home. Oh. When I got another passport, I was close to my adult kid's birthday, so I got a passport for her too, in case a friend of hers randomly invites her to travel out the country. Now I think a passport is a great gift for a child, niece, nephew, graduated from high school or college. They're expensive, but nice to have.
It is, and I've said this years ago, and I will continue to say this. Passport will eventually be the required form of identification. I want to flat say that. And the biggest reason why I'm pushing that, because with the new IDs, the easiest way to get one is with a passport. So a lot of people are either going to have to go through the problem of having 14 pieces of identification, or either they're going to have to sacrifice and pay for a passport so they can go, here's my passport, yay, and y'all can move on with your lives, because you know you have to consistently renew these things. They have to keep coming up. And also, I think eventually, if fucking Trump have his way, eventually, when they ask for your ID, a passport is going to be required. They be like, we don't give a fuck about that. Do you got an American-issued passport? We need to be sure that you actually here like you say you're supposed to be here. And, I'm opening up my third eye, because I'm like, they want you to have background checks, you know, because they want to get rid of illegals. So they're going to be like, did you go through the proper process? Did you show your documentation? Like, you know, people's names and shit, like not matching and shit like that. I'm like, oh, this is going to be a problem. So in my mind, eventually, it's going to be a required form of ID.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see about all that. I think a passport is very useful and valuable if you can afford to get one. I would suggest you get it. Not on the dire circumstances that Karen is saying. I just find it to be kind of convenient. I don't, I feel like once we get to the point where they asking you to show your passport, I think it's not going to matter. If they decide you can't be in this country, you just ain't going to be in this country. I don't think it's going to fucking matter. You got to have your passport and all that shit. They're going to be like, you black, ain't you? Get the fuck out. No, don't be agreeing. I'm disagreeing with you. No. You just said the opposite. I'm saying it's...
I didn't say they were going to honor it and say you were right. I just said they're going to make
then
you
might as well
it.
not have it. Then you might as well not even have it is my point. I also don't think it's that difficult to go to the DMV with some other paperwork. I just think the passport is the most convenient. Like, it's the easiest one, but it ain't hard. Like, I could have got my real ID without my passport. It was like 2 other pieces of paper or some shit. It's not like, you don't need a lot of paper. So if you're listening out there and you're like, I don't have a passport, am I going to be able to get real ID? Yes. You can. Go to the website, look it up. There are other things you can do. There's like bills. There's a bunch of shit. You can birth certificates, social security cards, whatever the fuck. There's other stuff out there that your pay stub, like there's shit you can bring. Just look it up in your state and find out what it is. But all that being said, passport, very convenient, very, very worthwhile. All right. Appia says, my privilege, our post office is, but wait, we already said this. I guess she posted this twice. Yeah, okay. Or maybe I was on YouTube. That's what it was. I'm sorry. I was looking at the wrong comment section. All right. My mom says the post office story was hilarious. Thank you. J Full says, I love how Karen says, motherfucker, she be singing the hard R on that mother to let niggas know she mean business. Candy04 says Schumer hopefully was playing the long game. It's not like the Democratic base has never sent them out on a limb and deserted them at the polls. In September, he may go for the shutdown because the base is organizing themselves and pushing them to fight. Obama used a lot of capital to get the ACA. Biden pushed student loan forgiveness, etc. Policies Sanders and Warren folks said they needed. Harris went anywhere, everyone to get votes. Promised all the liberal policies they claimed they wanted. Democrats still stay home. Yeah, Candy, I just think if that's true, then Schumer should have articulated that. That's all. Like, I feel like some people are helping him out in a way he's not helping himself. And when you're the leader, you need to be the one communicating a message that will make me understand what you just did. And what he's been doing on this week-long talk circuit that he's been going on, trying to sell his book that he can't even now do a tour about because people are so unhappy with him. It has not given me confidence that he has a plan. It just felt like capitulation for the capitulation's sake. Jason says, no doubt the conservative podcast dominance is depressing. The thing about the liberal podcast, they always say stuff like, we all know Trump is bad. It should go without saying. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to need you to go ahead and say it, though. Agreed. Those MAGA podcasts never let anything bad about liberals go without saying. Anyway, the post office story was the best. I feel for those employees. If I'm being honest, my 8 a.m. experience and my 5 p.m. experience are both pretty bad. I hate when someone walks in right when we open. Actually, my noon experience ain't great either. A brother trying to get to lunch. If you want the optimal Jason, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. are your best chances. You'll get the full Tim Scott Smiling Negro experience. Finally, y'all didn't rank the gender wars those ladies played for you, considering it hijacked banter. It has to be considered Hall of Fame level. I thought we said 10 out of 10. But yeah, it was 10 out of 10 gender wars. This is amazing.
I think we just started clapping, so I don't know if we gave a score or not, but yeah, it was 10 out of 10.
That was one of the best ones. That was one of the best ones ever.
Yeah, it was.
And there was something else she said. Oh, and we went to another post office, and the guy was very nice, and it was right before they closed. So I don't know. Different post office, different strokes, I guess. But his post office wasn't over there by the rich white people, so maybe she'd be dealing with some different type of folks.
That's true too.
All right, let's get some more music, and then we'll come right back. sorry, I forgot to say the poll. Would you have intervened at the post office if you were riding Karen? Yes or no? 6% yes, 94% no. Yeah, I feel comfortable with my no.
Me too. I think we made the right decision.
3066 self-evaluations, 7 comments. And I just want to bring something back real quick because I also meant to say this part. Remember when I said post-election, I was not the person to be trying to bring people into the fold, even though I recognize someone needs to do that? That's what I'm talking about. I don't have the patience for somebody to come up here and be like, listen, I don't like trans people, but what, bitch? Go find another show to listen to. The fuck kind of, what do you think this is? It's not I'm not working for the Democratic Party. I don't give a fuck what you do. If you want to keep suffering and keep us having a shitty ass world, then that's your fucking prerogative. You and every Trump supporter agreed on that.
Yes, y'all won.
Y'all won. So you know who else agrees trans people need to go away? You and all the fucking Republicans. Go be with your friends. This ain't the show for you. Fuck out of here.
And that's okay.
And you don't have, this isn't like a public forum. You don't have a right to access to us. Like I said, I remember saying that when that person wrote that shit a long time ago. It's like, hey, you can stop writing up here about this. I don't give a fuck. I said what I said and I feel vindicated and right. And there's nothing you said logically that will make me reconsider that. And my job isn't to make you reconsider shit. I appreciate when people do.
Right.
But I don't get on the mic like, man, they gonna reconsider this shit. I'm like, I like when people do, but if not, if your fucking bigotry is too strong to see it, then it's just too fucking strong to see it. We used to have people that are right up here and they're like, I'm a Christian. I don't think gay people, I don't agree with their lifestyle.
When we first started.
And I same thing to them. Then stop writing up here. Cause I don't give a fuck that you don't agree with their lifestyle. Then this ain't the show for you.
It is not.
Go listen to I'm sure there's plenty of other ignorant ass niggas that will tell you shit to make you feel good. But that is not my job. Anyway, Shoe Booty says on our last episode, 3066 self-evaluations, managers look you dead in the face and say no one gets to exceed expectations. Okay, then stop making me evaluate myself.
Right. That's my whole point. What's the point if nobody gets it?
So they told you don't do that?
It's not that.
Okay. Because that's a big thing, Karen.
Yeah,
the first sentence is managers look you dead in the face and say no one gets to exceed expectations.
Is the fact that they was like most people will not get exceeds expectations. Like that was flat said, and it wasn't mean or anything like that. They was like, you would literally have to be like going and getting a fucking promotion. They was like, most people are going to meet expectations.
So they told you this when?
In one of them one-on-one type of things. Okay. You know?
So is it after you've already evaluated yourself, or is it before you fill it out? Okay.
Yes. And they was like, we want to let you know up front so you won't get disappointed when we turn around and give you a meets expectations.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think that's the same thing as telling you can't get expectations. Okay. All right. I just think there's two things happening here, and I'm just gonna come out and say it. I think there's the inner voice in your head that the one that sometimes reacts like I'm yelling at them if I say, no, Karen, you just need to hit, like, have you tried hitting Control Alt Delete, and then you just freak out on me like I said, like I jumped up and said, did you hit Control Alt Delete, you dumb motherfucker? So there's that.
Yes.
And then there's,
and I get anxiety.
Right, which I think a lot of us have.
Yes.
A lot of us have. And especially about self-evaluation. You know, it's like every time someone tells us to write an excerpt about our podcast, and it's like, can you write your own profile about it? And I'm like, I don't even know what to say. We've done so much stuff, but I feel weird saying like Rod and Karen are a married Southern couple that has been one podcast. Like, it feels weird, right? Mm-hmm. So there's that. But then there's this other part that is very real, which is corporate structures and double speak and bullshit.
Yes.
So I'm trying to figure out what is real and what is just people's inner voice. So that's why when you started agreeing, like, they said no one gets exceed expectations. I'm like, is that a thing that happened, or is that a thing you think?
It's a thing that happened.
So they said no one gets exceed expectations.
Yeah, most people don't. They was like, if you get it, you're going somewhere else. Like you.
Because I thought you also had told me that you have put exceed expectations on things before, and they've agreed with you.
Yes, but
I feel like if no one's supposed to put that, why wouldn't they have told you No, Karen, we told you earlier, you don't get to say exceed. We don't give a fuck if you came in early, if you worked 60 hours. We told you no one gets that, so you're wrong. Take that off.
No, the thing is, it's a bunch of shit, and you put exceeds. Most of them I put meet.
Right.
There's a handful I put exceed, but this will be somebody who will put exceed for every single solitary category, like all the way down the board.
Who? I don't mean to be a dick, but who the fuck would do that? That wasn't full of shit. Like, I'm not.
People do that,
right?
Yeah.
But that don't. So is the employee always right? Or what are we saying here? Because like I feel like if you put exceed expectations for every part of your job, I would be like, what the fuck did you think the expectations were?
Yes, sir. You have to, that's coming in, bust that bubble, go, hey.
So like, cause like we've only been on the worker side this time, and I agree, I understand, but like, is there no such thing as we don't all have a delusional coworker where it's like this bitch thinks she got earth the gift of the earth?
Yes, we do.
Like anyway, I hear what y'all saying. I think it's just more of an anxiety thing though. Like I don't want to have to think about how good or bad of a job. I want you to come in and do your job and just tell me.
Right.
But I think some of it's turning into like,
you making me do your job.
Yeah, I feel like that's what the rejection is. Not necessarily. Like I think self-evaluation is actually pretty healthy. I'm sure there's people that came up with this at the company that weren't trying to fuck everybody over. They were like,
that's true.
They were like, you know what would help? I guarantee. This is what I'm saying. I guarantee you, what a self-evaluation came from was somebody getting a bad evaluation and saying, I should be able to evaluate my fucking self, so that when we come to this meeting, I have something to say too. And now everyone's doing it. It's like, fuck this. I don't like this. It's not changing anything. But I guarantee you, self-evaluation ain't come out of nowhere. Because I remember being in corporate America and having these meetings without a self-evaluation and being like, what the fuck? I feel blindsided. Whereas if I went in with my self-evaluation, I could at least be like, okay, you're saying this. Here's what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. Anyway.
Yeah, I get it. And everything's, and I understand that perspective. And everything's documented and everything, you know, yeah. 2 or 3 people look, like your manager looks at it, supervisor looks at it, HR looks at it, everybody looks at it, then you meet with your manager.
I get that you don't like it, but I'm trying to figure out how much of the not like it is just anxiety about evaluating yourself, and how much of it is literally like,
that's probably a bigger
it just
part.
Don't matter what you put, period. They don't give a fuck. Because I asked you specific questions.
90, 10, 95.
Here's the thing. I asked you specific questions during that segment, and I was checking to see what the answers were. And when you said sometimes you do put exceeds expectations, and when you put it, they agree with you. I went, okay, so then I'm glad they did the self-evaluation, because you would not do that. You would never walk in anyone's office and tell them I'm exceeding expectations. You would never do that. And only in that format would you advocate for yourself. That's it.
Yeah, because
you would just go to work and you wouldn't do shit. Yeah. So like I don't. So
okay. Yeah, because I'm forced to.
So I don't know what other people do at their jobs, and I don't know how they do their jobs, but like to me that's a sign that it is working to an extent, even if you don't like it. Like it's still. Okay. I'm not saying you have to like it. I'm
with you. Yes.
But like, if you would have told me, well, no, I don't put exceeds expectation. I just don't want to stick out. I just put meets expectation for everything. Then I would have been like, okay, yeah, I can see your point. It doesn't matter. But when you're like, no, sometimes I go above and beyond, and I put that down. I'm like, good.
And write notes.
Because if not, you would never go into an office. You would never ask for a raise. True. You would never say, I expect more, better treatment.
Right.
You would never do that. You would just get a check, and then you would go home, and you just would not think about it again. But if you're doing more, or you complain about it, I'm doing more work than I'm supposed to be doing, and no one's acknowledging me. But then to have to acknowledge it yourself, and then put that in writing, and then go meet with your manager and say, yeah, I did put that down. Yeah. And then for them to have to say, yeah, you did do that. That was never going to happen without self-evaluation. So I'm not really against self-evaluation.
Now that particular statement, that is a true statement. Because I think for me, I get in my own mind, I get it in my own head, and it's I think for me it's huge anxiety, because I'm like, okay, now you're making me have to I don't want to say dude, and it also depends on your personality that you have. You know, some people, I'm a brag about myself, but I'm like, hey, dog.
Yeah, I don't know these other people. I know you.
Yes.
And I know that was the point you made, and I wasn't going to no-butt you on the show for your banter, but now that it's coming up in the feedback, and I'm sure it's going to be a lot more people writing in, I'm not really against this, especially when it comes to women. Because women we know for a fact, women do not advocate for themselves at work. They don't go in for the raise. They don't negotiate the job or the salary. They don't push. They, like, if anything, they feel icky for pushing. Like, I hate this. You gonna make me have to say that I did a good job? Like, yeah, you should say you did a good job if you did a good job.
Yeah, and maybe I hate to be like this. I personally think, I know some people will be like that no matter what, but I really think society as a whole has failed us because, you know, when it comes to that, most women are kind of taught to kind of put themselves and everything. And I think that comes out in these evaluations.
Yeah.
When you have men that don't know shit will swing their dick and be like, I get all the raises, you just gonna respect me. They don't even care if they're fucking unqualified for the job. But yet, you know, mediocre, but still get the raises. And it's like, well, I'm doing more than him.
Right. Men are confident. Men will advocate for shit they don't even deserve.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. It's just interesting. A lot of the people that seem to hate it, it's a lot of women that seem to hate it. In the chat room, ratchet ass signs. Ew, just had my annual eval. I hate it. Like, a lot of women, shoe booty. She don't like it. If this whole song and dance is to see what percentage point raise you've already decided I'll be getting, then let's just save everyone's time here. Give me what I'm getting and let's move along. Mature young lady, another woman. I too am not a fan of self-evaluation. I've been told many times nobody gets exceed expectations. Well, that makes me feel great. I've always shown up and shown out at jobs, but what difference does it make? At least Karen's job actively works to improve conditions. I've never experienced that. Appia says Jonathan Majors always worried about his girlfriend or wife as they seem to be married now. She went all in on he's a great guy and just misunderstood. Should she experience some of his aggressions, she would be even less likely to admit it because everyone would say, we told you so. Why did you even get with him? It's classical woman savior trap. Yeah, good luck to Megan Majors. I want to know, did she change her name? I don't even know if they really got married. They said it was like they jumped the broom in the living room in front of their parents. I'm like, I don't even know if this happened.
Was paper signed? If not,
just so happened, it just so happened at the same time that this leak came out. Anyway. Sean says, as an educator and researcher, the research shows that in education, low-performing students tend to inflate their self-evaluations and high-performing students tend to deflate their self-evaluations. From a business perspective, if the research on the educational self-evaluation carries over to business self-evaluation, if anyone took self-evaluation seriously, they would help elevate the less qualified and suppress the exceptional employees. Neb says, self-evaluations aren't allowed by my union contract because they're pretty unfair and inaccurate. Many people who are high performers tend to devalue that's what Sean just said, devalue their work and vice versa. There's no sense in letting that skew things like your pay. Yeah, and that's what I find interesting is like, is Karen, Erica, and Shoe Booty, are they adverse to these evaluations because they are good performers or high work and they're downplaying their shit? They're like, well, nobody gets a exceeding expectations, so let me just not say I'm doing that. As opposed to like, nah, if you did, fuck what they said. They don't then come in this room, and maybe that's just my mind, but come in this room and make me prove that I'm not. If I'm not saying I'm a lie, but if I'm exceeding expectations, I'm not gonna not tell you I'm exceeding expectations. If you told me the job is from 8 to 5 and I'm leaving this bitch at 6, that happened. So I'm not gonna trick myself into being like, well, fuck me, man, that's just part of the job. No, I'm doing more than you told me to do. If you say, hey, the goal was to do 500 invoices a month and I'm doing 700, I'm exceeding expectations. That's a fact. Like we don't have to. It doesn't mean I'm gonna get a 37% raise, but it might be. I'm putting exceeded on this fucking sheet for this. That's just me though. Not to mention women and certain minorities and people with anxiety tend to be harder on themselves. I wish less people had to do self-evaluations all scam. Yeah, it seems that, like I said, I just take a step back real quick and ask yourself this. Why do we have the self-evaluations now when we didn't always have them? And I'm guessing that you're going to arrive at some point that not having them was even worse than having them. That's my guess. A lot of people were like, when I didn't have them, I also didn't get a raise, but also I didn't really know how the fucking good I was doing. And when I did above and beyond, it wasn't acknowledged, because the managers need you to acknowledge it now so that they can acknowledge it. I think that because most people won't go into that meeting and truly go, like, without that self-evaluation prompt, will truly go in there and go, I did more invoices than y'all said. And that means something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're hoping that your manager picks up on it, but what if they don't?
That's true.
What if they just not that good a manager or don't give a fuck and they just like, yeah, so meets expectations, everything you did was fine, you still got a job, 2% raise, bye. It's like, nah, let's talk about it. So I don't know. It is difficult, and I do understand as a person with anxiety too. I just think, I've made my case. Abby says we had self-evaluation.
Just think that, you know, you just need to advocate more for yourself, and
which most people don't do.
That's true.
You and I know this. We're talking about you at this point. You were not doing that. This is the only way you're going to advocate for yourself.
True, because I was forced to.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the thing, because I was kind of forced to, and I don't know, you know, what that says about me, but, you know, I'm like, can I just get my paycheck and go home? And they like, no, we need for you. It's almost like, tell us about yourself. It's like, well, I'm me. They're like, no, that's not sufficient.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I get people just don't want to be bothered. They just want their check and they just want to go home. I get that, but I don't know, man. Self-evaluation is the one time a year where you're allowed to advocate for yourself. So I don't want to hear that even this is bad. You know what I'm saying? Rod really is a man that self-advocates for a black woman is hard. I'm not saying, I know I'm a man. I know I got male privilege. I know it's hard, but that's kind of why I'm with the self-evaluation. Because it's a non-confrontational way to do it. All of us have to do it.
Yeah, it's a non-confrontational way,
We all roll our eyes at it. And if you really are feeling like you are being, because you know what else is true, is like how many black women feel like they not appreciated at their jobs. You know, how many people will come home and complain about how much they do and then change nothing. Yeah. Be miserable at work every fucking day.
Yeah, or just leave and nobody knows why they left.
Yeah. I mean, it's worth, I don't know. I could see if y'all were saying like it was better the other way. But all I'm seeing is people being fucked in silence the other way. And in this way, you got a slight chance to be like, nah, I did do a good job. That's it. I don't, you know, if they gonna give you 3%, they gonna give you 3%. It's not, you know, nothing I can change about that. But like, the idea is not a bad idea. Corporate culture is fucked up, so it could be other things. But yeah, you know, this corporation you're working for now is actually pretty positive.
It is.
You know, so I don't, you know, at that point, it just becomes about you. And
yes, and this isn't being in my own brain. Yeah,
yeah. This isn't me saying, like, I don't give a fuck, black women, y'all dumb for not advocating for yourselves or whatever other shit. I'm just saying, like, black women don't advocate for themselves, even with them being excellent at jobs, being better at jobs, and all that stuff. There needs to be a solution.
Yeah.
So what's the solution, y'all? Because if it's not, you got to speak up for yourself in some type of format that's non-confrontational, like these evaluations.
Yeah, because they're non-confrontational.
I don't know.
Right.
I don't know what it is, because you don't want to walk into no one's office and do it. And they're never going to recognize you because they're just good fucking people. And there's, you know, I've realized today, like that put it this way, that can happen, but you're at the whims of having a good boss or not.
Yeah, a good manager. Yeah.
Whereas a evaluation is not. There's no whims to that. That's me, baby. I did more than you told me to do, and I would like to be compensated or at least acknowledged that I'm doing that. That's it. And the last thing I'll say is, I'm still a nigga. I've been in corporate America. Y'all have heard me talk about corporate America. I was not no mover and climber. I fucking hated corporate America. I was depressed. I did not have any goals. I was the kind of person that was like, I don't want to go in the office and ask for a raise. So I'm not telling you anything that didn't affect me. Like, I don't know what, maybe because you hear this podcast and it's our opinions, you feel a certain way, but you can look at my fucking pictures from working in corporate America. I hated that shit.
You did.
I was not a guy that walked in the office and said, I'm a man and I would like 5% raise, please. I was a walk into the office and they just don't fire me for my evaluation. I go, thank God, Jesus. That was it. So I'm not telling y'all anything I didn't experience. So let's not try to turn it into some weirdo shit. Like, I'm just trying to be fair of everybody in the situation. And especially with Karen, I'm like, I know that from experience, you have anxiety about praising yourself.
I do.
Praising yourself, you have anxiety about stuff you earned.
Yes.
No, like, no one can stop you from you did that work. You should get that thing. And it's like, I don't want to be a problem.
Right.
So the self-evaluation might be the only way for Karen to do that. And I'm like, even when you hate it, sometimes you have to do things you hate.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. And every time I just push through it.
Yeah.
And, it's one of those things where I do keep a track and things like that. And also, one good thing about it, because it's not all bad, one good thing about it is that it forces you to reflect.
Right.
Because sometimes you just do, and you might not reflect. You picked up a responsibility or two, or you was asked to pick up an extra task or two, or all of a sudden you learned something else in the system, or you learned something new in the system, or you got a formal certification, or you're kind of doing the same thing, but you went from a regular person to a lead or something like that. Like small changes, but they are changes, and this gives you a chance to actually sit down on your thoughts and write the things out. The thing is, like you say, it is a non-confrontational way to get out your achievements without you having to deal with looking somebody in the eye and things like that. Yeah, they're going to read your words, but that's very, very different.
And I guarantee you the self-evaluation was the result of somebody's hard work trying to solve this problem.
True.
They didn't just like wake up and go, how do I fuck everybody over? They were like, how do I make it a better environment? It's like people that complain about like all this DEI training. Why we got to do all this training about black people and women and gay people and shit? I just want to come to work and go home. It's like, because somebody else's job at your job is to make that training because they think it will improve the workplace.
Right.
That's what happened with self-evaluation. They're like, look, people don't feel heard. People feel ambushed. They don't know what we're going to talk about in these evaluations.
Yeah, people feel shocked. And I guess, And that makes sense. They did say that. They was like, hey, we don't want people to feel blindsided. That was the biggest thing. We want people to know kind of where they stand.
Now, the corporate culture of it, I think, this is just what I'm feeling. My guess is maybe when they say nobody meets or most people won't exceeds expectations, I think what they're trying to say is meets expectations is not bad.
No, it's not.
Which a lot of people, I think, do not feel that way. Like, they might hear that, they might understand it intellectually, but it's like if you leave your evaluation and all you got was meets expectations, part of you feels like, am I not doing a good job?
Yes.
And so I think what they're saying to y'all up front, because there's not a better way to say it, is, hey, if you don't exceeds expectations, it's okay. You're still safe. Your job is fine.
Yeah, we don't think you're doing a bad job.
The one you don't want is didn't meet expectations. Yeah, that's the one.
That's what you don't want.
We think 95% of y'all should meets expectations if you're doing the shit right. Yeah. And if you get exceeds, we want you to know that that's because you're in the top blank percent of people that are going above and beyond.
Yes.
And we are going and we are acknowledging that, and it will come across hopefully in your compensation or whatever, right?
Right.
I think that's what they have to say going in so that people, because of anxiety.
Yeah.
But it's just funny because anxiety is so funny. It flips in your brain to meets expectations ain't shit. As opposed to being like, oh, meets expectation, that's good.
because you was like, well, if I'm gonna get a meets expectation, the fuck.
It's funny. Semantics, but it's funny. Abia says they don't want to do it very often. Oh, she said her last round she got exceeded expectations. They don't want to do it very often because that means paying more money. We have so many systems here, and my company is Swiss, so it's not even a German thing. I have to write myself goals for the year now and talk them through with my supervisor. I'm reading how the U.S. is behaving towards tourists now, and I'm glad that we have been to your country many times in the past because I'm way too afraid to visit anytime soon. Why should I spend a large amount of money only to land in jail for no reason? Wonder how this will affect the economy.
Oh yeah. People already said it was going to impact the economy.
Y'all will be straight because y'all white, but
yeah. But yeah, it's because even prior to Trump getting elected, economists were already talking about this. They was like, yeah, the large cities, all jokes aside, like DC and New York and California, Florida. They was like, yeah, prior to once Trump got elected. They were saying, yeah, tourism dropped because people was like, oh, no. We remember last time and we don't want to deal with all the bullshit with the immigration and all those things. So a lot of people just started putting other places on their traveling destination, because particularly, all jokes aside, particularly DC and New York, they are like one of the largest travel destinations in the world, particularly DC, where people just come from all over. And this whole ass economy is built around people coming to the monuments and all that shit. And DC coming to these, New York coming to these places, and that money is getting ready to dry up, because particularly these places are very expensive for the average person. So a lot of the difference is made up by the tourism.
EV says, when I worked at corporate America, self-evaluations pissed me off because no matter what you put, management already made up their minds what kind of employee that saw you as and how much they thought you were worth. I gave myself above averages all the time because I didn't murder the people who would get on my nerves, and I was proud of my restraint. I don't miss that shit at all. You were right about Aubrey, Rod. The manosphere is the only place he can retreat because even a lot of his white fans clown the R&B album he made last month. Oh yeah. Man, that shit came and went. I still haven't listened. I don't hear anyone talking about it other than to make fun of him. I don't think it even charted. It definitely charted because it's Drake, but I remember something like Drake has taken the #1 song and then literally 24 hours later, Kendrick had it back. And I was like, shit, he on his ass because Kendrick's song old. I don't think it even charted. At this point, I'm not sure if he will ever get back to where he once was. He may be able to make a couple hits in time, but he will never be on the top again. Yeah, I don't know what. Yeah, I don't worry about him coming back to the top. Like, it's not my job to fix it, but yeah, I don't know. I don't see the path for him. Let's see. Comments on YouTube. Felicia says, you were so right about those self-evaluations. I don't miss them. Do y'all not see the irony that every person that's written in has been a woman so far? I swear to God, I'm not cherry picking any of these.
But yeah, it's something. Yeah, women are like, no.
Y'all don't see it? Like, I'm not saying it's easy to be a woman. I'm actually saying it's pretty difficult. But
yes,
unless you make women do self-evaluation, I really do wonder if they would even do it.
No, they wouldn't.
And they already kind of seem to be downplaying doing it. Like, can we just not ever have to talk about how good a job I'm doing?
Can we never have to talk about how great I am at my job? Just pay me. You're like, but you're doing a great job.
This is not a joke. Next person, Sherry. I appreciate Karen's hatred of self-avowals. I can't stand them myself. I say that as someone who helps organizations design the whole performance management process. So you help to make it.
You help make the evaluations. You're like, fuck them.
To make the process meaningful, you would need leaders who actually care about your career progression. That's facts. But you would need that whether you had the evaluations or not. So I guess what you're saying is the evaluation just makes it an extra step. That's bullshit. So, all right. EMK says, oh yeah, I can attest. If you put expectations because you and your job exceeds expectations because you do and your job is really demanding and you do exceed expectations all the time, they will still put meets expectations and they will talk to you about how you don't exceed expectations and they'll think you don't have the ability to accurately evaluate things. It's kind of gross as a point, goes as a point against you, jerks. That's another woman, by the way. I'm saying.
Women don't like self-evaluation.
We're like 6 or 7, 8
Women
for 8.
like, don't make me talk about myself.
Waiting on a dude to come in. I'm sure there's maybe no dude. Anyway. Big Tone says, yo, Rod, I never heard of this transgender person, Hunter Schafer, so I looked her up, and fam, she looks like a woman. That's why I don't date older women with biological kids. Oh, that's why I only date older women with biological kids. Can't get caught slipping with dating rules like that. You feel me? Actually, I don't feel you, Big Tone. Here's why I don't feel you, though. The idea is that, first of all, I think that's an insane thing to say, that you're only dating older women with biological kids because you're so afraid someone might be trans. That's an insane thing to say to me. Just because, how would you let that amount of fear dominate your life that way? Not saying you have to prefer to date a trans person or anything. I'm just saying that is a weird way to navigate life. Like, I better get me a 50-year-old with 6 babies so I know what I'm getting into. That's the most important thing. I would never just trust that a woman has a vagina ever again. So that's one thing that's weird. The second thing that the reason I would say is weird to me is this idea that a trans person's entire life and entire outward appearance is about tricking some dude into dating them. I promise you, trans people aren't the biggest fear of a trans person, especially a trans woman, is a dude like you. A dude who's feels some sort of entitlement to, I'm gonna be tricked and I'm gonna have to do something or prove something, or I'm gonna be upset by this person. They don't want to be around you any more than you would want to be around them.
Nope,
period. They don't get a badge of honor for how many guys I tricked into sex with me or being attracted to me or any of that shit. The number one killer of trans women is men, straight cisgender men who for whatever reason, but not that they were tricked, but that is the biggest lie that men who murder and harm trans women tell people. We've done story after story after story on this show, to the point where I have tried to limit how many of those stories I do, because there's a certain level of like, I don't want to turn it into like a weird ass like a, oh man, I'm proving I'm such a better person, y'all, because these trans people are dying, man. And but like, we've done so many of these stories, and also low key, I feel like people stop covering them as much. But we've done so many stories. Like, that's not what's happening. You're not being tricked. No one gives a fuck. I don't know you, Big Tone. I don't know what circles you run in, but I doubt that it's just a bunch of trans women constantly walking around like, how can I trick you? Trans people aren't trying to trick you to use the bathroom. They're not trying to trick you to go on a date with them. They're not trying to trick you to have kids with them or marry them or any of this shit. It's not the crying game. If anyone's not upfront about their sexual orientation or sexual what organs they have under there, it's because you don't need to fucking know. And you're not on the list. And if anything, telling you might be more of a threat to tell you. So I'm not gonna tell you. But yeah, that's a weird thing to write into our show. And also, you don't get no extra points for being like, I'm so straight, bro. Rod, I know you hear me because you didn't write to Karen. Hey, Rod, you know I ain't. And I think low key of the lowest of keys, which is high key for every trans person that's probably listening and clocked this already. What your real translation of this sentence that you wrote is I looked up Hunter Schafer and I was attracted to her.
Yeah, that's what you're saying.
That's what you really said. And something about that made me feel like I need to signal to you, Rod, that I would never have sex with a trans woman. That's really what you needed to say to get that off your chest. And I say, keep it in your fucking diary. I don't give a fuck who you fuck. Karen?
Oh, and there's also one of those things where for trans people that they are intimate with, they know, because we've read too many articles where people claim that trans panic, and come to find out they knew, like they knew,
almost
and a family
every single
or
time.
a friend or they boy, somebody found out, they panicked and they fucking killed them.
Yeah.
They're not intimate with people, and the person don't know. So that the trickery part I don't know what to tell you, you know, about. You're not being tricked. Like they you know, if it get to the point where it gets serious like that, they will let you know. But like you say, for most of the time, you are not close enough to that person for them to feel like feeling the obligation to tell you.
It's the male fragility and ego and the homophobia and the transphobia that all combines into this idea of like, they're gonna try to trick me. I bought her a drink because I thought she was a cisgender woman, and now what does that mean about me? What is it? What did you just say to me? What did you do to me? It's like, what? It's not that big a deal. Calm down. You know what else? I guarantee you bought somebody else a drink that also wasn't gonna fuck you. So now y'all have that in common. What the fuck? Who cares? Anyway, thumbs down. Next time, of course, hide from the channel. That's what we doing now. We hide. They're playing hide and seek on the YouTube channel. Okay, we're not doing this back and forth with the. I don't like trans people. Good, go start a fucking. Go sell a T-shirt. I don't want. It's not for our podcast. This is not that space. Donatello says, I live in the Norfolk area. One business made a candle named Local Woke Mob. I'm going to get one before they sell out. Yes. Hillshaw says that father subconsciously hates their transgender son. I agree. The father who was like, I voted for Donald Trump, but what about my trans child? I mean, I don't regret voting for Donald Trump, but you know, damn. Candy says, I'm with you, Karen. Those self-evaluations are we do them twice a year, and we have 4 to 5 actions to meet and behavioral target professional goals, blah, blah, blah. I didn't get any significant raises until after the COVID shutdown lifted and people who were ready for change left the company. Christoph says at the 3750 mark, okay, I'm mad now. Raphael, do you have the relocation deals to Africa in the work to let a naysayer know?
Oh, no,
Jason?
Yeah,
you're going to end up in fucking Switzerland. Jason says, man, Drake better be careful hanging out with them tape boys. That's how you end up in the cell block 1.
Oh, no.
I know he doesn't seem to be the most informed dude, but turning MAGA for him right now ain't the move. That's not going to fly for him at home. Well, it's interesting because Drake did put out some cryptic Instagram post about how, like, he was hoping he was going to go dark or go, not dark, but like do some type of U-turn or something that was going to be publicly harsh, and he was hoping his fans were going to be willing to follow him or something. And I wonder if it could be this incel shit. He's like, look, I'm just going full incel, and if you're a real fan, you're going to fuck with me. Those Canadians are booing little girls singing our anthem. He's going to end up homeless. If he puts out an album called Views from the 51st State, he might as well head to Romania with the tape boys.
Not the 51st State.
Yeah. The Tates of Hazard. Self-evaluations for work, 87% think it's a waste of time. 14% say it's worthwhile. 13% whatever. But all right. I'm not going to fight for y'all more than y'all fight for yourselves. So, you know, I hope they get rid of them or whatever else would make y'all lives better. I don't care one way or the other, but I'm just saying.
They actually do like the more and more you talk, the more logical you make sense, you know what I'm saying? Because for me, like I said, more of me was my anxiety talking on my end, and so I was like, okay, you got a point. Like I do understand the purpose of it, and it's forcing you to go through a process that you might not like.
Yeah,
you know. But the end result is probably better for you, and it probably might be better for the manager, because managers and shit are people too, so they might not want to have to go through the conversations and things like that. They'll look at what you said and see if they agree or not.
All right. Voicemails. Got 2 callers. Don't know the first person.
Hey, my babies. It's your player partner, Nick
Ju.
Hey, baby.
Just calling because, you know, I be behind and stuff. I love when we get a little shout out. I love getting teased. It's y'all love language, so it makes me feel like family. I'm out here slipping and sliding through these streets. Just wanted to say congratulations on another successful live show. I'll be rooting for y'all. Bought my little ticket even though I couldn't slide through. Basically the TikTok thing, in my opinion, my humble opinion, I think people are so defensive of it because you could have so many different experiences. Like, for example, I don't get ads on Instagram. So I don't know why. I don't know how. When I see people complain about Instagram ads, I'm like, never saw one. So, like, on TikTok, I'm very protective over my For You page. And I know that nonsense is abundant on there. So I try not to watch more than a few seconds or something. Sometimes I be nosy and get into some makeup influencer mess, and now my whole For You page is that mess. So I stay out of all that, and I'm on there in my bed before I go to sleep, rubbing my feet together like a cricket, recipes, Broadway, music, tips and tricks. I done bought up half the TikTok shop. It's so addictive.
It is
one of the reasons probably why people are protective of it, but also like you could just have so many different experiences. So when I hear about all the drama and mess, I'm like, ooh, sound like a totally different app. Like, so much so that I turned off my direct messages because I don't want people sending me stuff and then that takes over my For You page. Right. But either way, people just chill. It's just the app. Leave Rod alone. Love you, Karen. Love you, Rod.
You too.
Have a great week, y'all.
Oh, our girl, Nick.
Good to hear from you, baby.
Yeah, and that's the thing I was trying to say too, is like, I think the customization of the algorithm is so good and so addictive that it can trick people into thinking a mass experience is happening for everybody at the same time, but it's not. But if you take like 10 steps back and look at like the bigger stuff, like I said, when I Google who are the most followed accounts, that's just the most followed accounts. That doesn't matter if your personal experience is like, it is showing me bonnets and do-rags, like, cool. But clearly that's a you thing. And you can have that experience there, which would make people want to defend it and go, but isn't this everybody? No, the general experience is not for everybody. And bad stuff happens there too, such as libs of TikTok and shit like that. Like, anyway, but yeah, I appreciate you, Nick Jew. And, I'm glad you're out here slip sliding in the streets. We keeping up with you. We see you in the IG. Okay, I be in the stories. I see you singing out here. I see you in the streets. I ain't gonna say, in case they don't follow you, I ain't gonna say where you be traveling, but I'll be seeing you out here. Love to see it. I also just realized that because Skype is in and it won't let me add new contacts. So it's like, it's like, get the fuck out of here by May, nigga. Rent is due. We're gonna have to change this number soon.
Yeah, we are. We're gonna change the number, y'all.
Last one's from Allegra.
Hi, you two. It's Allegra.
Hey.
I just got through listening to your Bigger Bubbles episode. I like when you do weird stuff. But also, what you're talking about, if I may add another label to it, is what I've been calling like the era of the bully. It's been building for so long, and now they're reaching their apex. You know, you've got the biggest bully of them all in the president and the person who's holding his purse strings. And, it's the era of the bully. It's the loss of integrity. That's what the bubbles are. There's no more integrity. It's about who's the more popular. And it's fascinating in a psychological evaluation of it. And it's incredibly disturbing and frustrating and sad when you speak about the humanity of it all. Once again, you guys are in my head saying stuff I've been thinking about or saying for many years. So, love you guys. Keep up the good work. Sorry that you always have to get mad, but it's maddening.
It is. It just means our emotions are working.
Right? And that's one part of me I don't want to cut off. Like, because the thing is, it's really easy to kind of cut your heart off and just make your heart cold. But I that's something I never want to do. I don't want to lose my humanity because they want to act inhumane.
Facts. But thank you, Allegra. And that's a good, the era of the bully. That does feel like what we're in right now. People, and honestly, it doesn't even feel like it's necessarily a one side thing. I feel like a lot of people are just, even liberal people at this point, want a bully. That I don't know if it's possible to have a liberal bully, but they kind of want one.
If they could get one, they would.
Yeah, they would like a bully for good people, if that's possible.
Yes.
That's why everybody's like, be mean, yell at the Republicans, do something. You know, it's like they want that. That's the vibes. All right, let's do last segment, which is last two segments, but emails and then mail. All right. Girl Scout cookies, Crystal says, hey, I'm listening to your episode Scam is Life where you discussed the Girl Scout cookie lawsuit. So my daughter is a Girl Scout and has been one since she was in kindergarten. As soon as you said the moms across America, I'm sure you probably talked about them before, but they are a right-wing group that essentially wants women back in the kitchen. It didn't even register, but the name sounded funny. I was like, when I read it, I was like, is this two dudes not from America? Because it's never the truth.
It's never the truth.
The name is always a lie.
I know. For that, she be like, how many y'all moms across America?
A million moms is two dads. They are the ones who target school boards. I'm not going to say that I know for a fact, but that's the rumor of them is. So I feel like them trying to take down the Girl Scouts is a targeted approach. Whether or not this is facts, because if I feel like you test any food, you're going to find traces of everything that's been stated. But this is a way to scare people from consuming the cookies, which the sales of the cookies is what funds all the different opportunities, the camps, the different teaming out, learning opportunities for the Girl Scouts. And I know you had mentioned about good luck, about safety and the Trump administration, but this is really their way of targeting Girl Scouts, because remember, Girl Scouts teaches women or girls about STEM and being anything you want to be in, that girls can be entrepreneurs and learn about engineering,
being very independent.
My daughter's troop even taught them emergency first aid, so it's really about dismantling anything that tells girls that they should do anything other than being a wife. There's a targeted approach to discredit their reputation. I'm sure they will target Barbie next because of the message of be anything you want to be. All right, yeah, I mean, I'm completely with that. Honestly, you had me at don't stop eating Girl Scout cookies. Oh, because be honest, I was not gonna stop.
I was not either. I ordered some cookies online, and I probably would end up buying some more.
The only reason I'm slowing down on cookies is for my health goals. Okay, but Karen is clearly trying to sabotage me and don't care. But but the other thing I will say too is, like, I notice a lot of the sources reveal a lot, because I feel like that was from a right-wing source, and that's also the same place that I remember saying, like, don't, like, get off of avocado oil and such oil, only olive oil or whatever. And I'm just like, what has RFK Jr. been promoting?
That's
what is he doing?
True statement. What have you been promoting?
Watch this man. Our Professor Caritha writes in, Dear Rod and Karen, I hope this message finds you well. I'm reaching out because you'll appreciate this. I was at a conference this weekend, and a popular culture scholar I hadn't seen since before the pandemic was there. We had a ball catching up. The next day, when I was in a very serious conversation, he walked up and gave this to me in a very solemn fashion. I hollered when I finally looked at it. I took this picture today in my office. Having you and Karen in the background makes this even funnier to me because nothing's wrong with funny. Also, the Blackout Tips poster arrived. I'll get it laminated and then put up. Good vibes, Caritha. I'm going to show y'all a picture of what she was handed. And I love this. I wish I had one myself. But it's the MLK fan, but he got the do-rag on.
Yes! That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
Make it that
Black
face.
History Month. You know that was on somebody's poster.
For
the club.
Yeah, somebody's flyer promotion. MLK party.
Yes.
Rochelle says, hi, Rod and Karen. I'm still behind on episodes of this social media TikTok debate is really emblematic of how ingrained these mediums are in our lives. It's unfortunate that social media has distorted so much of our reality that there are so many people who can't see it. I listened to a podcast, Dakota Ring, Why Do So Many Coffee Shops Look the Same, and how the algorithm is impacting our real lives. Are we in the Matrix? Has my third eye been open? I've gotten back into reading, and I'm reading Not My Type, Automating Sexual Racism and Online Dating, another place where the algorithm can have a negative impact in our real lives. I know that you and Karen are avid readers and have mentioned some books, but I would love a Rod and Karen recommended reading list. Oh, I have to think about it.
Yeah, Rod reads more than me, like as far as like that heavy stuff.
Yeah, I had to think about it, but I'm sure I can look through my Kindle and find some stuff. I heard all the negative energy coming at Karen, and it will not stand. Karen is a gem. Thank you, Karen, for being you. Thanks, Rod and Karen, for doing what you do. Agreed. Well, I'll probably catch the heat this week.
Yeah, somebody gonna have something to say.
First of all, don't tell me to say I'm a good at my job, Rod. As a black woman, I suck. And I should be allowed to suck.
You would never understand as a man.
How dare you see my actual value and potential?
How dare you push me to be greater and advocate for myself and put out all my trophies and degrees and accolades and be like, I did that shit.
Oh, so you think I'm all that? You must think I'm all that.
In a bag of chips. I am, but I don't know how to tell them that I am.
You probably think I'm cute too. Tired, you doing too much.
Right? Making me push myself and shit.
I'm not, listen, do what you want to do, but 11 women wrote in a row. I'm just, y'all figure.
That goes to tell you, not trying for how ingrained it is, like in women to be like, why?
Y'all talk to the therapist. That's not my job. John says, good morning, Rod and Karen. It's so hilarious and dumb that dudes pull the biology argument to try and justify non-monogamy. They say shit like planting my seed, but let's be real. Unless they are Nick Cannon, they don't actually want to have a couple dozen babies. Right. Like Elon Musk and Dr. Umar, they don't want all them problems. They just want to fuck lots of women. Nothing wrong with that, but just be honest and find yourself the right partner who's cool with that and give her the same freedom. Record scratch. What makes it even more hilarious is that all the biology shit goes right out the window when we look at her perspective. Dr. David Lay, who is a psychologist and the author of the book Insatiable Wives and one of the leading experts on sex fetish and non-monogamy, pointed out on the podcast I listened to that unlike men, women have almost no limit on how many times they can orgasm, how long they can go, how many partners they can enjoy, etc. Whereas for most of us men, unless we are 20-year-olds, a porn star, or a steady diet of Viagra, we can only go at it a couple times in a single day, if that. If anything, it's actually women who can say they are built for multiple partners, assuming that's what they want, not us. Yeah, but also on a purely like naturist, animalistic type of way, right? Because men always make this argument of like men should have multiple women because men have so much sperm and they want to procreate and make the earth. If we're going back to this caveman logic, if a woman wants to diversify her interests and be the most protected possible, she should want to have children by many different men so that she always has some source of somebody providing for her. Correct? If we're going to that,
diversify your assets.
Yeah. Why would she put all her eggs in one basket?
In one basket.
What if that lion dies and now the pride has no fucking leader? Right. She would be better off having 7 babies daddies so that like, well, look, only one of them got to strike it big or just take care of enough of us because they don't want to see the mother of their child do bad. But nah, we don't take it to that level because all of a sudden it doesn't look as smart, right? You know, or it doesn't not look as smart. It doesn't make men feel as valued.
Agreed.
And so, yeah, all the arguments are very generalized anyway. But yeah, it's just whatever. Just be consenting adults and be upfront. You'll be all right. Somebody into everything.
Yes, they are.
And I guarantee you, there is a type of woman that's like, you can fuck other women, and I don't want to fuck anybody else. I don't know who they are, but they out there somewhere. Yes, somebody will agree to every fucking thing. We've all seen it. Mm-hmm. Everybody done seen somebody in some situation where you like, I don't even know how they made that happen. It happens. It's fine. It ain't my business as long as y'all consent and no one's being abused. Fine. People gonna judge you no matter what. Megan Good is being judged right the fuck now. And everything seems to be a consent relationship with that. You can't escape the judgment of it. He says, but of course the dudes who love to pull the biology don't care because at the end of the day they're just using it selectively and self-servantly to justify patriarchy. Thank you for attending my TED Talk. With respect to the name Jaden, I just wanted to chime in that I definitely would have guessed black on that story as well. Stephen A's voice, just for one. However, I have had a bunch of students named Jaden over the past 10 years that were Asian American and Latino. It's a pretty popular name in those communities currently, though not nearly as popular as Aiden. So keep that in mind for when you play Guess the Race in about 10 years or so.
when they start growing up and becoming adults.
From your lips to God's ears, we're playing Guess the Race 10 years from now, we hope, right?
Yes, we do.
All right, we got a couple things in the mail. The first one is this one. It came with a card with the flower on it. It says, "Hi, Rod and Karen. Thanks for a lovely show last week. It was wonderful visiting Charlotte for the first time, and I can't wait to return. Here are some candles I thought you would enjoy from my favorite local candle maker here in New Jersey. Hope you love them. All the best, Nadine, a.k.a. Shoe Booty." And she did get these candles from Wickit, which is so clever, Wickit, Wickit Candle. Jersey Girl is one of them.
Oh yeah, they're gonna get burnt, baby. Don't worry about it. They'll be gone by next week.
Smells nice. Smells like peonies. Is that how you pronounce those? And then Sexy Man. Okay. Sexy Man. I don't know what the subtitle is, but I assume this is gonna smell. Yes, it smells very sexy.
Smells like an action.
Honestly, it smells a lot like me already. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to smell this one in the house. It probably just smells like nothing to me. That's already my natural aroma. All right, and then we got this one. I haven't opened it yet.
No problemo, sir.
But the mailing address is on our website, theblackouttips.com/about. And we have a wish list on Amazon. And on the Amazon wish list, like Karen put stuff, I put stuff, and then y'all can. Oh shit! Oh, it's the Smart Fitness Scale from VSync. Oh, I literally just put this on there. Let me see who it's from, because I got a sneaking suspicion on who it's from, because that person told me to put it on there. Because I was saying how, of course it didn't include the fucking.
Yeah, sometimes I think they be forgetting to put the little thing with it.
They shipped it so fast they didn't even tell me who it was from. But if it's who I think it's from, thank you. Because she told me, we were talking on a pregame about the in-body test that tells me about my muscle gain and stuff. Because sometimes on the scale, the number looks the same. And I have a smart scale, but it's like, I don't know how. It's too smart. I don't know them numbers. Like, there's a setting that you can stand on it and it just gives you a bunch of fucking numbers that I don't get. And so I was just like, cool, but I'm just gonna look at the weight number because that's the one I know. And the other one is like 3 to 4 times 12. I'm just gonna assume it's calculus. Well, she said, well, this other scale will give you like very understandable, like, here's your muscle mass, here's your this, that, and the other.
Okay.
And so, and I'm sure it won't give me the exact, like the in-body would be like, your right arm has this much muscle and has gained
but
this.
But it would be overall.
Yeah,
yes.
So I'm going to definitely hook this up. I already got a VSync air fryer, so maybe it already hook up with that app.
It probably will. And
I'll be like, I need to air fry less or more. I don't know. I need protein. Air fry me some chicken. I'm on the scale right now. But yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate you.
Yes.
And I'm sure this will help on my health endeavors.
Yes, anything to simplify the process.
Yeah, and that's it for this feedback show. We'll be back throughout the week. We appreciate y'all. Until next time, I love you.
I love you too.
Mwah.